wrestling fans, and we are the degenerates that like to talk about it. This is Kicking at It Too. I'm Michael. With me, as always, is Tori. Hey, Tori.
Hello.
We are a day removed from the Royal Rumble, and good Lord, what a show! Um, uh, Literally nothing I can really say bad about it. There's some things that obviously were a little bit of lulls, but you need that in a show. But I mean, good Lord, even just from the start of it, like you kick off the show and the first thing that happens is Pat McAfee music plays, and like he comes running out, and it's like holy hell! Like
Michael
surprise it
Cole's
started and
response
hasn't even started the show.
Michael Cole's response was so good because you could tell he had no idea.
Hmm.
And he said, I FaceTimed him this afternoon. He was in Indianapolis.
Yep.
And I'm like, he hung up that phone, ran to the car, jumped in the jet, and flew to San Antonio.
Yep. So I mean, surprise is starting right off the bat. So we end up with a three-man booth for the night. Ends up being Michael Cole, Corey Graves, and Pat McAfee.
And I will say, as much as I hate the three-man booth, I loved this three-man booth.
Yeah, they played well off of each other. I still did miss an actual play-by-play. I miss that in all commentary now, though. There's not really anybody that does pure play-by-play anymore. Um,
Right.
but we decided to curtain jerk with the men's Royal Rumble match. Um,
Which is a surprise because they've never done it. But with how the show went, I understand it in hindsight.
yeah, absolutely. Um, So just a couple of things. Like we're not going to go beat for beat of the Rumble. We'll just talk about some of the things that happened as people were coming in. So we started off with Gunther and Sheamus. So a great start to the match because these guys
Yes.
had. I'm sorry to say this, Taz. They had bangers uh, all through the year. So uh, and then come to find out, they lasted like Gunther lasted to the last minute. He was the last one eliminated, and
And
Sheamus
Sheamus
lasted was right before him. So
was from like the top five, top
yeah,
10.
so really good. But so we have Gunther and Sheamus. They're beating the hell out of each other. Miz comes in and they kind of turn their attention and start beating the hell out of the Miz. And Sheamus tosses him out. Kofi comes out after that. Uh, Part of me heard that music and was just hoping. Was just hoping that it was Big E.
I was hoping we would hear it a third time.
Yeah.
That I
Um,
was really just there was that small part of me that went, he traveled with him to Australia. Even if he's there for a cup of coffee kind of thing,
hmm.
just to have him back.
Yep.
But either way, our best wishes still go out to Biggie.
Absolutely. Johnny Gargano comes out. He has a very interesting attire on.
He had on a, I don't know if it was like a, I don't know how you would say it, but it was King the Conqueror,
Yeah.
which is amazing.
So very topical for right now with Quantumania just right around the corner. But he's always got good comic nerd
Yes.
gear.
Yes.
My favorite to this day is still the Wolverine one that he came out with, the yellow and the blue. It was a really nice touch for him. After Johnny comes in, Xavier Woods comes in. And then after him, Karrion Cross, which no one cared. Um, Karrion
Do
got
something with
Karrion got tossed around. He ended up getting tossed out by Drew, and I was really kind of giggling at Michael Cole because Michael Cole said uh, that he got some revenge on Karrion, and it's like they haven't had beef in months. What? Why are we saying he got comeuppance on him?
I go back to my same statement from SmackDown. What are we doing?
Yep.
What are we doing with him? Because he was in there for like a minute. It was his first Rumble, and he did nothing of consequence.
Yep.
Like Ray wasn't in there. He threw no one out, and then he got dumped by Sheamus very unceremoniously. Like,
Yep.
what are we
Um,
doing?
which to that point, which we'll talk about Ray here in a few more entries. But it was interesting that from our conversation in the last episode, they seem to have pivoted on that storyline, and they put the Mysterio storyline back on the table because we saw more of that in this than we did Karrion versus Ray. So,
Because again, what are we doing?
yeah. So as that goes on, so Drew ends up tossing him out. New Day kind of goes on a tear around this time period, knocks everybody down, and then I love these boys. Now, here's the thing: I would love to see them go at it. I would love to see them have a match. I absolutely would. However, like that, they circle each other and like, all right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. They go at each other. They flippy dippy. I don't know how they got in the damn position, but they got in a position where they were able to do a double credenza butt slap or something. I don't know what to call that move, and neither did anybody else.
Oh,
So
but
they
it
just
was
start playing the bongos with each other's butt.
so funny. It was so funny.
And then everybody sees what's going on, and then they get the hell knocked out of them. Gunther goes on a tear after that, tosses them both out.
I felt bad for Kofi because the spot was set up and did not work.
Yeah. So I wonder how long he would have stayed in otherwise.
I wondered about that. What changed?
Yeah.
With that spot being messed up.
Yeah. Then Chad Gable comes out. So Chad Gable comes out, actually before the New Day get thrown out. One of my favorite things that happened in this Rumble was seeing Woods and Chad Gable mat wrestle in the middle of the ring during a Royal Rumble. Because they were going at it.
Yeah, they were. Well, and Woods doesn't get near enough credit for his amateur background. I know they talked about it at the time,
yeah,
but in general.
Oh yeah, he was actually like up for I think it was state champion. Him and Cody Rhodes at the same time.
Yeah, something like that.
So yeah, he actually went on Twitter and I replied to him about it. Like he replied on Twitter saying that he wants that match with Chad. He wants to actually wrestle Chad Gable. I'd love to see that. Give me that
That'd
on
be
Raw.
great.
Put
Right?
the
That'd be
ropes
great.
down and have them just go at it.
Shoot, bring Chad back to NXT.
Hmm. Hell, bring them both back. Alpha Academy versus New Day and NXT. I'm okay with that.
I mean, it won't be quite the same as American Alpha, but whatever.
It'd be American Alpha adjacent. Santos
No,
Escobar
it'd be
comes out.
American Alpha with no Jason.
See what you did there. All right. Santos Escobar comes out. Here's the thing. I've never heard Santos's music. I don't know how, but that played last night, and I'm like, who's this guy? Oh, it's Santos. I really like his music. His music is pretty damn good.
Every Friday when they're on SmackDown. You just never paid attention.
Apparently not.
That's funny.
So he gets tossed out though once Brock Lesnar comes in. So we get Angelo Dawkins, Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar comes in, goes on a tear. He ends up getting rid of, in order, Santos Escobar, Angelo Dawkins, Chad Gable, and then he ends up getting tossed out right after that by Bobby Lashley, who comes in.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
Brock was in the Rumble for 3 minutes.
So actually, to pare it down even more, it was 2 minutes, 28 seconds.
2.5 minutes. He was barely there long enough for the next person to come out.
Mm-hmm. He was there long enough for Bobby to come out.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Absolutely insane. So Bobby comes out, eliminates Brock Lesnar. Baron Corbin comes in and basically gets laid out because he walked by Brock Lesnar. Almost like a Rampage special situation. He just happened to be there, wrong place, wrong time. Got F5'd out on the floor. After that, Seth Rollins comes out. He sees Baron on the floor, beats him around a little bit, and then tosses him back in the ring. Once he tosses him in the ring, everybody kind of gets their piece of him, and then they toss him right out. He was there for 7 seconds.
Still didn't beat Santino.
Nope. Then we get Otis out. Had a little fun with Otis in there. He did the caterpillar. Looked like he was going to do it at one point and then stopped.
There was too many people in the way.
Yeah.
He was trying to, but there wasn't enough distance to set it up. I was going, he's trying to do the worm, but he can't.
Yeah. Um, ends up getting it at one point though, where he knocked Sheamus into a corner and then knocked Gargano into another corner. That's when he was
Yeah.
trying for it. He ended up doing it on Gunther,
Yeah.
which Gunther took that for all about 2 seconds and then stood up. um, Rey Mysterio was supposed to come out.
So technically, Rey Mysterio was still in the Rumble.
Yep, he is
He's
still in the
going for
Rumble. He was number
he's
17.
Going for Curtis Axel's record.
Mm-hmm. But apparently, when Ray was going to come out, Dominic caught him backstage, and Ray caught a beat down.
That's the assumption, but I need them to put that video together. Like, if that's what we did, they should have put that. Like, there should have been a camera back there or something, and Cole made some comment about something happening,
Mm-hmm.
and even if it's all three of them, the Judgment Day putting a beat down on Ray.
What it should have been is Dominic comes out with Ray's mask on. Behind him is Rhea Ripley with Ray on her shoulder. Walks him out to the ring, throws him in just so Dom could throw him out.
That would have been interesting. You still have to deal with the mask situation, though.
Well, then he just doesn't get the mask. Or it's one of those over masks, because sometimes he has the mask over the mask.
Yeah.
Or it's just a different mask. Either way. So then Dom comes out. Elias is after him. Then Finn Balor comes out. And then we start kind of a rotation of like the rest of the Judgment Day are in the ring at the same time. But before Damian Priest comes out, we get Booker T. Of all the surprises we could have had, Booker T.
That's what we got.
Yeah. Which, nothing against Booker.
I love Booker. I do. I love Booker. But that being the real only surprise,
and so
let me clarify. I know they had said they wanted to focus more on current talent, and I don't have a problem with that. But if you're going to have somebody be a surprise, I'd have made it a bigger thing. To me, it should have been Pat McAfee.
Pat jumps in, and it could be the same spot. He goes in there, he tears everybody up, and then he starts to celebrate, and then someone tosses him. And then he just walks
100%.
back to commentary.
Yeah.
And
then Corey can make fun of him for getting tossed all night. Like, you're handing Corey material.
Yeah. However, like, to give it to Booker T, though, he looked freaking amazing.
He was in great shape.
This man does not age at all when it comes to his body. Like, he looks in better shape now than he did back in WCW when he became the 5-time champion. But he goes in there, he takes care of everybody, gets enough time to do a spin-a-rooney, and then Gunther tosses him out. He's only in there for 42 seconds. Damian Priest comes out after that.
Those times that they're in there seem so much longer.
It does.
The time between people seems like it goes really fast, but the time people are in the ring seems like it's so much longer.
Yep. So then after Damian Priest, it's Montez Ford. Montez Ford, I think, kind of got the shaft here. He definitely, I think, should have been in there longer, should have had a better showing, but kind of the same situation. He goes in there, he waylays people for a little bit, and then he gets tossed out by Damian Priest, of all people. He was in there for 44 seconds.
See, again, I wonder if that's going to set up something with the Judgment Day and the Street Profits.
I hope so.
I don't know.
That just... Montez is a certified superstar. And they need to start pushing him that direction. With or without his partner.
Angela.
Yeah.
Which Angela's getting so much better.
He is, absolutely.
But yeah, I agree. We need to do a little something more with Montez because what we're doing isn't doing it.
Yep. And then we get On This Day, Edge comes out. And you know what's going to happen there. He comes in there and he just beats down Judgment Day. That's his entire point of being in there. He ends up tossing out Damian Priest. He ends up tossing out Finn Balor. He ends up missing Dominic. Dominic lasts a really long time in this thing, and I really don't understand
Surprisingly.
how this happened. However, uh, but as he is kind of celebrating what's going on there, Finn Balor comes back in, throws him back out. So, and then they give him a little beat down on the outside. Mommy comes out to try to help out with the beat down, and then Big Mama Beth.
This was the return I thought we were going to get in the match itself too. But I'm going to go ahead and spoil it. But I thought after this, for sure, because that spear on Rhea was nice. I thought for sure we were going to get Beth in the Rumble too.
Mm-hmm.
But that didn't happen. So,
which is
I just hope they do something more with it before Rhea's title shot at Mania.
Yeah. Well, I think this opened that back up. I think that was kind of the point of this is,
Yeah.
hey, let's not forget that this is there.
Yeah.
I think we'll see more of that leading up to Elimination Chamber. Probably that'll probably be her sidetracked thing.
Edge is back. The Montez was thrown out by Damian. There's your 3-on-3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Austin Theory comes out. Almost comes out. Then Braun Strowman, and Braun Strowman almost go eye to eye. Good Lord, Braun is strong.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's in better shape now than he was at any point during his first run.
I will say I'm glad he's not wearing his not safe for TV pants anymore, because that red was killing more screens than anything I've ever seen. Just bright ass red pants running down the ring. And then after that, his little brother comes out, Ricochet. Then it's Yep. Then it's Logan Paul, and then the person that everybody knew was in this Rumble and knew probably was going to win it. We get Cody Rhodes. Fun little spot happens between Ricochet and Logan Paul. They're both on the outside of the ring, on opposite sides of the ring. They just kind of look at each other.
What's your name?
Yeah. Tori sent me a meme that she saw on TikTok, and it was the "What's your name? Fuck you, Tony" thing, and that's basically what it was. They're yelling back and forth, like, "You gonna do this? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?" And then they both just springboarded, collided in the middle of the ring, fell to the floor.
Which was for the Rumble, even a crazy spot.
Yeah, absolutely amazing spot.
People can dislike Logan Paul all they want. That dude is a highlight film waiting to happen.
He is, and I'm really glad because here's the thing: like, they brought him in as a heel, and then they had the Miz turn on him and turned him face. This, he was very much playing heel. He's a natural heel.
He is.
He plays a natural heel on YouTube.
He does.
He plays a natural heel on his own podcast.
Yeah.
Like, why are we trying to shove him down people's throats like he's a good guy?
Cody's going to be on his podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll definitely be interesting.
Yep. So we end up getting down to the last few. So we've got Austin Theory, Seth Rollins, Gunther, and Cody Rhodes. We forget that Logan Paul's out there because he hit that collision.
Rolled out, yeah,
he hit that collision, rolled out of the ring. And so Seth Rollins rolls back in, or not Seth, excuse me, Logan Paul rolls back in, tosses Seth Rollins. And so hopefully that means we're getting a Seth Logan feud.
If we get Seth Logan at WrestleMania, that will be so good.
Mm-hmm.
And do you realize the matches that he's had then if that happens?
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
Killing it.
And from what I've read, he's put in the work.
Yeah.
He has got in there and put in the work. So it's not. We've had a lot of famous people come in for the Rumbles that had you can tell they've never tried to do any of it. They just showed up for that. But people like Stephen Amell have put in the work.
Yeah.
Logan has put in the work.
Yeah.
You can
And
hate Logan Paul all you want to, and I don't blame you mostly, but you can't hate his respect for the business and what he does in the ring.
yeah. And that's the thing, like coming from that world, immediately wrestling fans are put on defense for it because it's like it's someone that's not part of our business coming into our business.
Yep.
There's still that bit of tribalism when it comes to the wrestling business, um, but more so with the fans than with the talent, which is absolutely fascinating to me. That the people that aren't doing it and wish we could are the people that are like, no, he can't be in the business. Why? Because you can't. I
That's
mean,
for a lot of people, yes, that's exactly what it is.
yeah, but it,
It's I
and
can't do it, so he shouldn't get to either.
and again, it's the character. Like I'm glad he's playing heel this go around because that character he's put so much time in. My kids immediately the first time he showed up on screen, they looked at me and said, "Are you cheering for Logan Paul?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm cheering for Logan Paul. Like he's out there kicking ass."
Yeah.
And they're like, "But he's such a bad guy." I'm like, "But he's not like he's playing a bad guy."
The sad part is I'm willing to bet that he's actually a decent dude.
Absolutely.
He just knows full well that being who he is.
Absolutely. Well, it's like the Miz. The Miz, I've heard stories of like him behind the scenes, and that he is one of the greatest dudes.
Yeah.
Such a nice guy, so giving,
Yep.
but he's a heel. He plays heel so well because all he does is take that little bit of irritating person that he is that kind of rubs
Hmm.
people the wrong way, and he
And
amps
cranks
that
it up to
shit up.
100. He cranks it up to 100. I've watched Miz and Mrs. I've watched interviews. The Miz is a good guy.
Yeah,
He's just a good dude. And so, but yeah, no, The Miz is one of the best heels we've had in the last 20 years.
yeah,
Hands down. Hands down.
yeah. Up
There's
until
not many
this year,
more there's
I
not many more that are a better heel than Randy Orton has been,
mhm.
but if there's a number 1, number 2, it's Miz.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this year hasn't been this year being and 2022 hasn't been much for him. But
No.
there was a time there, like 20 and 21, like he was the greatest heel in the business at that point.
Absolutely.
So, I yeah, I mean, we could sit here and give him flowers all day, but let's get back to this. So, we end up down to the bottom three, which is just absolutely amazing. Uh, that Logan Paul is one of the final three in a Royal Rumble. Um, Definitely giving that kid a lot of opportunity because he's in there with Gunther and Cody Rhodes. Um, Cody Rhodes basically just gets tired of Logan Paul's shit and tosses him just ass over tea kettle outside. Um,
Pretty much.
and then we end up with something that I never would have thought I wanted to see, but made perfect sense. Because you have Cody Rhodes, who just came back from major pec surgery, and a dude that slaps the living hell out of people's chests for a living. Um, they were putting his chest on a test. Um, Luckily enough, it passed, but his chest looked like minced meat after this was done.
Yeah, he was we were talking before we started, and I said this then, and I'll say it now. I have not been a huge fan of Walter's run.
Hmm.
His matches with Sheamus were great. Great, great, great. But I have not been a huge fan of his run. After this, put him in the main event. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. I
Well, and
haven't cared about Walter since he showed up. I care more about him after this one match
mhm.
than I have his entire WWE career.
Well, so he was the Iron Man of this. So he came in as number one. He lasted 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 40 seconds. Like this man ran the gauntlet. Um,
He has a new record, Iron Man record.
yep. Yeah, he's the new record holder. It ended up taking over Rey Mysterio's record for being the longest in there. Um, the thing with Gunther, and I said it when we were talking earlier, and I want to make sure to say it here. Like, there's a difference between going over and getting over, and Cody Rhodes went over, but Gunther got over. There is not a
Yeah,
person that's in that crowd or watching on TV that can't say, okay, that dude should be at the top of the card.
I agree 1,000%. 1,000%. He he killed. He just start to finish. Gunther, this was his show. He was number one in the ring, and he was number 29 out, and it was hella impressive the whole way through.
Mm-hmm.
He
It
stood toe to toe with Brock. He stood toe to toe with Omos. He stood toe to toe with everybody. And give me Brock Gunther. I'm here for it.
yeah,
Give me Bobby Gunther. I'm here. Like, put him in there with some of these bigger boys and let's go.
absolutely.
Let's fucking go.
Well, and then we had a moment there, like where we had Drew versus Gunther, and like we've had so much Sheamus versus Gunther that it never even came to mind to me. I kind of want to see Drew in there with him because those are just two big burly men,
Big meaty men slapping meat.
meaty men slapping meat. You damn right. Good job, Biggie. Um,
Last night,
so
some of last night was definitely for Big. It was definitely for Biggie.
absolutely.
That was
Um,
definitely for Biggie. That was I like we said. I wish I'd have heard the music a third time. Just I wish
yeah.
we'd have heard the New Day music for a third time.
If that was
But
Ryan, not Ryan Satin, Sean Rossap, he posted a tweet that said, "Imagine if that goes off a third time, and then we all cry collectively."
we would have
Yeah,
100%. 100. Look, I I don't care if he comes in and he's in there 45 seconds. The fact that he's in that ring, even if that's all he does, if he
yep,
says that was it, I can't do this anymore. But he was there to get in there, hit a big ending, get thrown out, and land in a decent way. Even if they threw him out and he landed on Kofi and Woods to make sure they kind of caught him,
yep.
then we'd all gone home happy just right there.
I would even honestly, I would have even been fine if he was just part of a Kofi spot. If he was just out there with Kofi. Um, but anyway, I tried to curb my expectations of that happening, but it was really hard for the fact that
It
he's
was
been traveling with the New Day.
right.
And even though they're
That part,
saying
I
like
think that
we don't know when he's coming back, I'm like, but you're in Melbourne, Australia with them, man.
I thought seeing that I had a little bit of hope that we were going to get an announcement that he was good. He was ready to go. I was hoping,
And who knows? Maybe we get that announcement Monday or Friday.
and we might. But
If we get that Monday,
it,
I'm crying in front of however many people there.
I don't care. I'll cry. I will cry with you. That
Yeah,
would.
hold me, Tori.
Oh my god.
Um, anyway, a couple of things just from the men's rumble. Longest obviously was Gunther with 1 hour 11 minutes. Most eliminations was a tie with Gunther and Cody Rhodes, both with 5.
Okay.
Shortest time in the rumble, aside from Rey Mysterio, who technically got 0, was Baron Corbin with 7 seconds.
I think Mysterio wasn't in, so he's still in the Rumble.
Yeah,
Curtis Axel is going to end up throwing him out just to defend his record.
which in that case, then that just means we need to reopen up Cody Rhodes versus Rey Mysterio, which I'm perfectly fine with.
Yeah.
Have him come out there with a dashing thing on.
Excuse me.
Um, anyway, so really nice start to the night. I really enjoyed the men's rumble. I do wish there was a few more NXT names in there, just because, like, I'm with you. I understand not doing surprises or forbidden doors, however you want to call it, because you want to focus on the current talent you have. But to
Right.
me, that's also the current talent that's coming up. And so having a
I
Braun
agree.
Breaker in there, having a Carmelo Hayes in there, would have just elevated them like it did some
But
of the ladies in the match later.
because it definitely, I would have been fine with doing the Ray spot a little differently to give one of those spots up.
Hmm.
Ray starts towards the ring. catches a beat down. Adam Pearce comes out, and Braun Breaker or Carmelo Hayes comes out. It's like, let me take his place. Let me take his a Becky situation with Lana a few years ago. Why not?
Yep. Ricky Starks could have came out there.
For those that are not aware, Ricky Starks was backstage with Cody, and there's a picture of him floating around, and Ricky tweeted it with, they're bringing back GTV. And then Cardona responded to it. Let me see if I can find Cardona's response, which was funny. See, I'd like to have seen Matt Cardona come out too. I think he was just trolling people, but I still would have liked to have seen it.
He's been trolling for weeks.
Yes, and I'm
copyrighting everything Zack Ryder related. He tweeted early Saturday, I think it was, of which song, and just had his O Radio theme and his Always Ready theme as the two poll options. He's been doing it hard.
He's definitely been trolling.
Yeah.
Damn it, where is that picture? Oh, there it is. Ricky said, damn, they brought back GTV, and where is Cardona was like, oh my God, Ricky. That's all it said. But I'm like, you didn't show up either, Matt. Shut up. He at least was in the building. Cardona was probably in the building because Chelsea was there, but
yeah, I'm surprised we don't have a picture that he was back there somewhere. I'm sure that'll come out at some point.
I'm sure it will. When they're ready for it too.
So we get our winner, Cody Rhodes. I mean, this has been telegraphed for weeks, but I don't care.
I don't care. It was nice to see and all, and it was great. And we got the Cody point to the WrestleMania sign, which I was fine with. But it was still kind of anticlimactic because we knew it was coming.
Yeah.
There was no chance Cody was not winning this.
Yep.
If they had not telegraphed it so much, then I might have felt differently.
Yeah. Honestly, what I would have rather have happened is them not run any of the He's Okay packages and have him just show up 30.
I think the pop would have been way bigger.
Yeah. But regardless, great night for him. They did a little post-panel thing at the end of the night. I don't know if you caught that.
I caught a little bit of it. I caught him telling Denise she was really loud.
Yeah. Which she tweeted about too, which was fun. But like he seems genuinely touched that the company gave him this opportunity, that
100%.
he's doing this. There's a couple of times 100%. You could tell he's choking up and almost tearing up just talking about it. One of the interesting things that he said in that interview is he said, I'm a massive Triple H fan, and there's really no reason that Triple H should be a fan of mine. I mean, I left here and I broke the throne, I burned the bridge, I talked all the crap. He's like, and I hope they know that it was all like in jest. It was all me just trying to get over. But
it was for the show.
Yeah. But him saying that piece, and then him saying like, I'm the biggest Triple H fan you can tell because look at what I do in the ring. Look at my mannerisms, my entrance. It's all big spectacle like Triple H. And then he also says that he's glad that relationship gets to go on. He just hopes that going forward, Triple H doesn't see his dad. He sees Cody.
And that's fair because Tripp had and he's been 100% open about his close relationship with Dusty.
Mm-hmm. Which he actually responded to it at the end of the night. He was the last panel person to show up, was Triple H. And he said he wanted to clarify. He's like, when I do look at Cody, I do see Dusty. I see Dusty's eyes. I see Dusty's talent. I see Dusty's passion. But I also see something else. I see all of that and more.
Because Cody, we talked about it from the second Cody did the speech at Dusty's Hall of Fame induction. We both said, oh, shit.
Mm-hmm. That kid has something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we knew he had something. And the fact that they're seeing, hey, he has all of these things Dusty had, but there's more.
Yeah.
Because he's what? First of all, I adore Dusty. I love Dusty Rhodes. He will always be one of my top 5 ever.
Yeah, for sure.
I love Dusty. and I don't say this as a knock on Dusty, but Cody is so much more athletic.
Yeah.
It adds another layer to that ability because he's got all of Dusty's traits. He's got the toughness, he's got the speak, he's got the presence, all of that, but he has more because he has that athleticism too that Dusty didn't really have.
Yeah. And now the cops are coming for you because Tripp heard you talk bad about Dusty.
Mm,
A
I'd say it.
lot.
I'd say it to him and Cody. I don't care. I adore Dusty.
Yeah,
Like that. That was one of the most heartbreaking losses ever for me. Was Dusty.
absolutely. Like I didn't see a lot of his early work, his NWA stuff.
Right.
But even just being the son of a plumber, wearing the polka dots, being out there with
Sapphire.
Sapphire, that was it. That
She
was
was
it.
great. She was so good.
And she was so good just because she was a fan. She literally was
Yeah.
just a fan that they ended up putting her in the show.
Because the people responded to it.
Yeah.
They got it. It was. They felt the same way.
So we take a break then from Rumbles and we start the Bray Wyatt versus LA Knight in the Pitch Black Mountain Dew match. I bought that just for the bid.
I'm sorry. What? I didn't. Have, I was looking at.
Pitch Black Mountain Dew match. Uh, saw that when I was at Walmart today. And I was like, I gotta buy one.
Are you drinking it?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Is it any good?
It's well here. Let's find out. Live on Kicking At It too. Mountain Dew sponsor. Come on, sponsor me. It's Welch's grape. Like
That's all it is.
It's purple drink. It's purple
It's
drink.
carbon. It tastes like purple.
It tastes like purple. Not bad.
Okay.
And I got the 0 sugar. So that also might be some of the.
Yeah.
But anyway, not bad. It's great. It's anyway. I would say it's about as good as this match was. The bell sounds, the lights go out, and then what we find out is that the pitch black match is a black light match. So we're doing 1990s skate-a-thon type stuff. Gonna do backward skate with your sweetheart.
Go in the opposite direction.
Right. When Bray comes out, the only thing you really see is, and I made this reference in our thread we were doing, is that apparently Ronda Rousey's makeup artist had done some shadowing on the eyes. However, though, the black light comes up, and then we see exactly what face paint he has on. Very badass looking, scary as hell. He had contacts in that
They
with
were
the black
red.
light turned him red. It was very.
And then he had it all
villainous.
down his arms too. Like that was nice. And then of course LA Knight's in like neon green shorts,
Mm-hmm.
neon green trunks.
Which, he was in yellow. Was it yellow and black? I think was the colors. Because I made a thought in my head, is like, is everyone just going to dress like Logan Paul tonight? Is that going to be the plan? But yeah, with the
It was.
black lights, very neon, shiny, and then him just being dark as could be under the black lights. So it was really odd just to see these trunks floating around. But I mean, this is what you thought it was going to be. It was like Bray for the most part throwing Knight around, and then they had some little things that were kind of fun and kind of goofy. Like they had these little, I don't know if it was paper or what have you, in the
I think it
commentary
was
desk.
popcorn.
Was it
Like
okay?
packing popcorn.
Okay, like packing peanuts. But yeah, they had something in there. They made a point to spread it all over the commentary, and then they had boxes of them underneath. So White ends up catching Knight and putting him through the table, which then like it flows out everywhere. It was a really cool visual. It was a goofy thing, but it was really cool
goofy
visual.
as shit, but it was a cool visual.
But so Knight ends up trying to hit Bray with a kendo stick, but Wyatt then catches him and plants him with his sister Abigail. And it was really nice the way he did it too, because he didn't even let LA Knight get the hit off with the kendo stick. It was almost like he was swinging in for it. He got caught in the momentum and brought down. Uh, but then that's not even the cool part. So they leave the lights down, they leave the black light up, and then Bray continues the attack post match, but he ends up putting this mask on that we haven't really gotten a good look at yet because of the lighting situation. But you could tell it was a different mask than what we've seen before. And so he throws him around the backstage, ends up taking him out, putting him in front of where this big tall platform is, and then we see the bright lights and Uncle Howdy, who then does a senton, for lack of a better term of what happened there, off there onto where LA Knight was. I say it like that because it was obvious by the video he missed him. Sometimes we end up in those situations where we just have to suspend disbelief, but it was quite obvious. You were saying you saw a different angle of it where you could see that he just rolls into the hole that was
Yes, it was
created.
so bad.
But great visual for everything that happened. Bray just kind of standing there with the mask, and then as it pans, looking at him from downward, you look up at the top, and it's all the costumed Funhouse people that showed up the first night he was back.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, they're up at the top of that platform now, and they're all just kind of
Okay.
looking down at the carnage.
Okay, I missed that.
So,
Interesting. I'm gonna have to go back and check that.
um, really good.
For what it was.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't a great match. Like it's not something Uncle Dave's going to give 5 stars to, but to me though, this is that smorgasbord that I was talking about, that buffet that I was talking about. I loved this because of how different it was than everything else on the card.
And that's fair. That's fair.
Yep. We get notification that the attendance for the show is an announced 51,338 people at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. If WWE is still playing its old tricks, that's also including staff, because they always bump it up with the staff that's
Yes.
there. But still, a lot of damn people. You're at the Alamo Dome, for God's sakes. This
I
leads
had more people at my last birthday party, but whatever. They can act like it's a big deal.
This leads us to Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship. I wasn't into this match. I was honest with Tori when I started this up. Like, the interest just came, and then next thing I knew, Bianca Belair had won. So apparently I had passed out for the entire match. I don't know.
Honestly, I don't remember much of it either because I just wasn't that invested in it.
Yeah. So here's why I wasn't invested. I want to make sure that I don't downplay the ability of these girls. How much I love both of them. I love Bianca. I love Alexa. But we have spent the last few weeks of Alexa saying that she was going to just tear Bianca apart. She was going to brutalize her. She was going to rip her eyes out with her nails. And then we end up having like headlocks and stuff. And no. Like, why are we having a wrestling match?
This should have been a fight.
Yeah, this should have been a fight. Yes, we had some punches that started off the match, but I mean, essentially after that, it was a wrestling match, and that's not what I wanted out of this.
It should have been one of those things that if you're going to have Alexa say all those things, she should be like, you know what? Why don't we make it a no DQ?
Mm-hmm.
Or something to make it fit the narrative that she had been spouting for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And after everything she'd done, why didn't Bianca request that to begin with?
Yep, absolutely. Or Falls Count Anywhere, which would have fit the narrative perfectly for when they were battling out into the crowd. Like, just something to make it a little more
100%. I agree 100%.
But so this one ends up ending. Alexa lands double knees to Bianca's midsection and goes with the cover. But Bianca then lifts the shoulders after the 2 count. Bianca then pops up, plants Alexa with a KOD, gets the 1, 2, 3. We then see Alexa in the ring And then up on the screen, another Uncle Howdy video package pops up, and then she's just kind of sitting there looking defeated and confused. So obviously that storyline is still going to go. Um, I
But where's it? This I put this with the carrying cross. Where are we going?
Yeah,
What are we doing?
we need to start seeing some movement on it before it gets too too lost in the weeds. Because we're getting very close to a point where I don't care because we're making movement on the Bray stuff on his own. Need to make some movement on this too. Because if she's going to be part of it, I need to see where she fits. Is she an antagonist to this? Is she part of the group? Are they working in cahoots together? What's going on? What I will say is, so at the panel after the show, I forget who it was. I want to say it was Cage Side Seats that asked Bray that question. Like, we've seen all this stuff with Alexa and Uncle Howdy and you. Like, can you tell us anything of where that's going? And he was very hush hush. The only thing he did say is, wherever it ends up going, I guarantee you will be some really good stuff.
And I don't doubt that, but we need to put the car in drive and get there. Because we're sitting in neutral right now, and I'm like we talked about Friday. Bray's been back since October. This was his first match. I didn't care about the match because we knew how it was going to go,
Mm-hmm.
and we're still getting nowhere.
Yep. And then, to my surprise, that leads us into the women's Royal Rumble. I was
surprised by that too.
Yeah, I was a little confused that we were doing that. However, this one had a lot more twists and turns for us, where the men's only had current superstars, Raw, SmackDown, and then we had the surprise with Booker T. This one had people from Raw, people from SmackDown, NXT. They had some free agents. So it was a nice little homage to what we would have expected out of the men's.
There was a lot happening in this Rumble, but I will give Grace credit for this. She pointed out during the men's Rumble, anytime somebody new came in, everybody kind of stopped.
Mm-hmm.
With the women's Rumble, nah, them bitches just keep beating on each other. They didn't stop for shit.
Except for one entrant, which we'll talk about.
Yes, except for number 30, but we'll cover that.
So we start off with Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. Again, a great way to start this because of their history. Rhea and Liv had a good partnership for a while. Cole said relationship, which that's kind of what it seemed like a little bit while it was happening. But they both started together, and both lasted the entire time. They both went bell to bell. I think they give Liv Morgan the credit for the record, and maybe that's because Rhea won. But like the graphic that I saw pop up was Liv has the record. So
I would think it'd be a push because Rhea technically got in there first. I guess technically with Liv being the last one eliminated, that's when the clock stopped.
Yeah.
So
maybe.
Yeah.
But either way, it absolutely deserves it either way.
Yes.
So Rhea comes in, Liv comes in after her. I do kind of wish Liv would have came out first because that was her big thing that she kept saying is that she wanted to be number one. I think that she should have came out number one then.
I think this whole I want to be number one or who's number one and number two is kind of stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're still the first two people in the match.
Yep.
It needs to stop being I want to be number 1, 2. I want to start the match.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have worked better. So they go at it for a while. Dana Brooke comes out, which was a surprise to me. I didn't expect to see Dana Brooke.
She looked good too.
Absolutely, she looked good. After her, Emma comes out. Then Shayna Baszler. And then we start seeing exactly what the threat of this one's going to be coming up. Because Bayley comes out. But before we get to the rest of it, so Bayley comes out, and then B-Fab comes out, which surprised me because I didn't expect to see her in the ring. Because we haven't really seen her wrestle yet. And then we get
take her jacket off.
NXT. We get NXT champion Roxanne Perez. To the point of B-Fab. So B-Fab comes out, and then pretty much immediately gets taken out. She was only in there for 36 seconds. Which at
She
this
didn't even need
point,
to take her jacket off.
she was the record holder for the quickest time out. That'll
At the
change here
time.
shortly. So Roxanne Perez comes about. The fans were into Roxanne. Like, that
Well,
surprised me a bit.
but she was trained by Booker,
Mhm.
and they're in San Antonio.
Yeah. So
It's location, proximity to where she started, which was Reality of Wrestling over in Houston.
Mhm.
And I think she's from that area of Texas. I know that Houston is like an hour from San Antonio, but that general vicinity
Yeah.
of Texas, I think, is where
So
she's from.
and that would make sense because like the Royal Rumble, we've always said is it's not the normal Raw crowd. Royal Rumble or
No.
any of the pay-per-views, that's the smart fans that are diehard fans because
Yeah.
they're the ones that's going to pay $400 for a damn ticket to a pay-per-view. So it makes sense then that, yeah, probably a lot of the crowd knew her. And the rest of the crowd probably watch NXT because they're bigger wrestling fans than just the normal casual fan.
Right.
Um, so after she comes out, though, then we get Dakota Kai and Io Sky, and then we see basically Damage Control taking over the Rumble.
I didn't see Roxanne get eliminated. Who threw her out?
So Roxanne was actually thrown out by all three of them.
Okay. I missed that.
Yep. Yeah, so B-Fab was the first one eliminated by Rhea Ripley. She was tossed out pretty quickly. Dana Brooke was taken out by all three of Damage Control. Then Dakota Kai threw out Emma. And then Roxanne Perez was thrown out by all three. And then, so Natalya came after Io Sky. Natalya was thrown out by all three.
Which Natalya was a surprising return because we talked about it at SmackDown, the preview of the Rumble, and you said she wasn't. You'd heard she wasn't ready.
Yeah. Either
And
she had tweeted or someone had tweeted that she was still recovering from the nose and that she wasn't
she
going to be in
looked
the Rumble.
good.
She did.
She's lost weight, toned up. And let me clarify: she looked amazing before.
Mm-hmm.
She looks amazing now too.
Yep.
I'm not saying the weight loss.
Amazing in a different way.
Yes, she looked amazing before. She was amazing before. She's amazing now. She's gotten herself into more better physical shape.
Yep. We did get a nice little moment between her and Shayna Baszler because that was the whole thing, is that Shayna was the one that broke her nose. And so they were refilling that a little bit. Shayna Baszler was then thrown out by all three.
Which I'm good. I'm good with them redoing that to an extent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if Natty's gotten herself in better shape, which she obviously has put in the gym time, I guarantee she's put in the ring time too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would like to see her kind of change up her repertoire a little bit.
I agree.
She's very much modeled herself after her dad and off of Brett. I'd like to see her do some Owen stuff. And then also, I want to say it was Keith, if I remember right, was the more high-flying one after Owen. We only really saw him once in WWE, and that was that Hearts versus the King's Court.
Yeah.
But he did kind of it was Bruce. Now that I'm thinking about it.
It was Bruce.
And so, like, take some of that stuff. Like, start learning some of the more flippy dippy, for lack of a better term, but like do some of the fun stuff, some of the flashy stuff.
I agree. I agree. I have never been a huge fan of Natalya's in-ring.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she's stiff on a microphone too. But I just watching her Twitter, her personality is starting to show through a little better.
Mm-hmm.
In more ways than one. But be a little more you. You don't have to be super and I feel like she was trying to be kind of prim and proper because that's how the family was. But I think it's time to move on. Let's. You're a heart, we get it, but let's shift that on down the road and be you.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep some of those stalwarts. Like keep doing the sharpshooter. I'm fine with that if that's part of the legacy you want to do on. Do the spinning clothesline for your dad. That's fine, but show your personality. Stop trying to be like I'm the last person that was trained in the Heart Dungeon, and I'm the first female, and da da da. Like, I don't care. I don't care about all that. Show me who
I
you are.
agree. I agree.
Um,
Like, show me what you have done. Show me what you have.
yeah. Um,
Show me that you've learned something, that you can do this.
yeah. Um, the next person in and the next person out is Candice LeRae. She's taken out by Io Sky. She was in there for 5 minutes though, so I mean she was still in there for a while. But and then I was thoroughly happy that Zoe Stark shows up.
There's your girl. I
Yeah,
told you.
definitely like she
You've
is
been talking about it.
yeah, she is my favorite in NXT, and I can't tell you why. Just there's something about her that like she's going to be a star. And she showed it last night. She came out there, fans were going nuts for it. She did really good in the ring. Um, she had some lockups with a couple of the big names while she was in there, and looked perfectly fine doing it. So definitely good to see that. Then we get Xia Li coming out. Nobody cared. Becky Lynch came out, which was a surprise because, like, again, like I'd heard someone say that they were going to try to keep her away from the title scene, and why would you put her in the Rumble then? But
Well,
makes perfect sense for what happened.
right.
Because she comes out and the tag team of Damage Control slips out of the ring to try to take her out before she even gets to the ring. She knocks the hell out of them, goes in straight after Becky or right after Belly, excuse me. And her and Bailey go at it. And there's just kind of a constant between those three for a while.
I definitely think before Mania gets here, we're gonna get Becky finding two others and get some kind of triple threat there.
Yeah.
Um, I do think we need to get the tag titles off of Io and Dakota. I do. Nothing against either one of them, but let's put it on a tag team that's going to do something with the titles
Yeah.
that we care about.
Well, and it's kind of like if Bailey would have came in and won the women's title, I think it would be a different conversation, because then it's that group is taking over the women's division.
But
But
if
they
it
just
has to
have the
be,
tag belts and they haven't really
yeah,
defended them. They haven't really
they
done
haven't.
anything with them.
That's what I'm saying. Let's do something with these titles. This is, I hate to bring it up, but this is why Sasha and Naomi walked out.
Because it's just kind of placeholder.
Yeah,
Like it's
like what
there
what
just
are
to
we
say
doing
that
here?
they're the tag champs.
Yeah, so let's
Um,
do something with them. Let's make them important.
so after Becky Lynch, Tegan Knox comes out. Um, Cole is trying to explain what having the shiniest wizard means.
Which was pretty funny.
It was. He's like,
Hearing him try to explain that when he has no idea how to explain that
yeah,
was pretty entertaining.
because half the time they don't even say it's the shiniest wizard. They just say she did
Yeah,
the shining wizard and call it a day. Um,
yeah,
after that, Asuka comes out, new music, new over face mask,
which was
um,
awesome.
and then I immediately was getting giddy because I was pretty sure I knew what that meant. And sure enough, she takes off the over mask, and it's the old clown makeup from when she was Kana. Um, just looking badass as you could be.
Yes, she
Looking a
did.
little crazy. And kind of in the same respect, like you said with Natalia, it looks like she's toned up a little bit. Um, she isn't doing the like the short tights anymore. She did full leg tights. Kind of changed that look up a little bit. Looked amazing.
So Grace pointed out that she was like, normally I would say a thong on top looks terrible, but it looked awesome on Oscar, and
Mhm.
she wasn't wrong.
Yeah, which that even
Grace,
with
Grace was my fashion
yeah.
critiquer for the night.
So yeah, she comes out and like she is just a house of fire. Like she's beating up everybody, tearing down everybody. It was absolutely wonderful. Um, First thing she does is throw out Tegan Knox.
Okay, you're talking about Tegan Knox and the Chinese Wizard, and I just happened to pull up Twitter because I've been kind of seeing what's being said about last night. And Lance Storm tweets, as far as I'm concerned, this will always be the shiniest wizard. And it's Kevin Nash as Oz.
Uh,
Ah, that's funny. That's
So
funny.
here's the thing. It took me a second to realize that it was a pun on the fact that Oz was a wizard. I was thinking, did he do a shining wizard
No, it was
as Oz?
he, he's. I'm gonna send you the picture,
Yeah, no. After it took a second to sink in, I
but
gotcha.
seeing the picture makes it so much better.
Yeah. Um, which Kevin has went on record of saying that that mask was the dumbest thing in the world. Um,
Because it was.
yeah. So Asuka comes out, cleans house, throws out Tegan Knox, and then we get Piper Niven. Um, really glad to see her name back. Glad to see that she looked more herself. Glad she's healthy, above all else, because I know that was the thing that was holding her back at first, and then she had some visa issues. So I'm glad we got all that cleared
I'm
up, and she's
so
ready to go.
excited Hyper Niven is back, not Dewdrop, because
Um,
that name was terrible.
here's my only thing. It's going to be a very unpopular popular opinion. Um, Vince used to hold the reins on commentary,
I
and
know.
things did not slip through. And so, like we had on Friday, we had the thing with Lacey Evans and her shoe, and they just talked about that for the entire match. Um,
Because
I
here's
no, and I get it. I get. All right, it's a funny thing, but now you're killing any hype for this character because that's all
but
you
that's
talked about.
it. Nobody cares about this character anymore. That crowd was dead as hell anyway. So I didn't have a problem with Cole and Wade Barrett making fun of the shoe.
But you're not helping it.
I
As
agree,
commentary, you should be
but
trying to help. Um, but in the same instance, they're all making puns and jokes about the name Dewdrop. Do you think she's going to drop someone out the Rumble? Stop. Like, Piper Niven is a
fair enough.
badass. Let her come in
It's
here and be a badass.
right.
Um, but
Well, and
is what it is.
what wasn't the next one in Tamina?
Yes, the next one was Tamina.
So did you catch the kind of standoff between them?
I did not.
So they kind of had a face to face, and I part of me just went, is this because her first name is Piper and Tamina's last name is Snuka?
Yeah,
I
I could see that.
She had on the green that Piper had on looked like Piper's old kilt,
Yeah,
and the whole back thing
and
with
she's legit Scottish
yes, and the
and
whole
not.
back thing with her with Piper and Jimmy. I thought it was a nice little because
Yeah,
Tamina
it
was supposed to see her.
if that was a reference, then it was definitely a nice little Easter egg, um, and a cute little touch. Um, so yeah, the next one out was Tamina, and then comes out Chelsea Green. I was really excited to see Chelsea Green come out, and then I was
She looked
really
good.
she looked really good. She was jaw jacking the entire way down there. Got in the ring, and she is now the uh, award winner of the shortest time in a women's Royal Rumble match. She was in there 5 seconds. She got
Was it
in.
5? I thought
It
it
was
was
five.
7.
No, 5 seconds. She got in. Immediately got sent out by Rhea Ripley. Just
And Matt Cardona, bless his heart, was tweeting, "Look at my baby, first day back and already setting records."
mm-hmm.
Sir, no.
And here's the thing. So like, I waited for this spot specifically to bring this up. Um, listening to Mick Foley's podcast, uh, he uh he had talked about like these moments, and he was like, think about it this way though, like you think about like the Santino moment. What do you
Mhm.
remember from that Rumble aside from the Santino moment?
Oh, I don't. I couldn't tell you who won that Rumble.
Yeah, it's about moments. That's all wrestling is. It's about moments. And people will remember for years when Chelsea Green came back for her first time since leaving WWE
In and out in 5
and was
seconds.
out in 5 seconds. People will remember that. And there are
That's
people that
fair.
sign up for that. Like they
That's fair.
say, "Do you need that spot?" And they have no problem being that spot because people are going to remember that. That's something you could play off of.
And that's fair. And if you use this as a when she comes out, of course the crowd's going to harass her about it,
Hmm.
and she's going to turn it into, "Look, I'm just a record setter. I don't know what to tell you." I guarantee she says that.
Hmm. Well, it was like Natalia with the Guinness Book of World Records stuff, like shoving that in everybody's face. Look, I'm the Guinness Book of World Records holder over little stuff that no one really cares about. It's fine. Like that could be a perfect way for her to get on TV and like start a run at a character. Um, After that was Lena Vega looking absolutely fabulous,
She looked fantastic. That outfit was so good.
cosplaying as a character from
Street
Street
Fighter.
Fighter. Um, there was a thing that Tori sent me that was a video of that character and her and some of the mannerisms she was doing during the Rumble. Spot on with the way she was looking.
Jury X is the name of the character.
Thank you. Um, and then apparently this was a tie-in. I don't know if you heard them say this, but so Zelina is also going to be doing commentary for that game. So that's kind
Which
of
is
cool.
very cool.
Yeah. I'm very interested because I don't think I've ever played one that had commentary in it.
I don't either, but I'm kind of okay with it.
Yeah. Like if you get little sound bites of like commentary talking about what's going on in Street Fighter, I'm kind of okay with that.
And I just pulled up Zelina's to get the character's name. She tweeted a thing 22 hours ago. It's a video of the game of that character with Zelina's commentary.
Okay.
I didn't turn it on because we're obviously recording right now, but it's on her Twitter. They tagged her in it and she retweeted it. And so I'm gonna have to go back and listen to this. I'm curious.
Yeah. Because I love Street Fighter. Like that's one of the old school games. Like I'll still every once in a while. I won't pay $70 for a new game, but
Right.
but like when it shows up on like the PlayStation Plus stuff, I'll
Right.
download it and play it. So it's definitely one of my favorite of the franchises. I still remember there was a story I like to tell of I was 25-ish. And I just needed to get out and clear my head a little bit. And what I used to clear my head with when I was a teenager was going to the arcade. I'm like, I'm going to go to the arcade. I went to the arcade. They had a Street Fighter 2 Alpha box up. And I'm like, cool. So I get there and I'm plugging quarters in it and I'm playing it. And I'm beating the hell out of the computer. And this kid, maybe like 8 years old, comes up and asked if he could play. And so I was like, yeah, sure. In fact, actually, and I gave him one of the tokens because I didn't want to take the kid's money. And then he whooped my ass.
Trying to say he beat you down, didn't he?
Yeah, I think I lasted about as long as Chelsea. So I'm a record setter too, is what I'm trying to say.
As long as Chelsea, or as long as it's if you were with Chelsea, just checking.
I don't want Cardona to come whoop my ass. So
we're gonna go ahead and move on. We're just gonna move on. We're gonna move on.
After that, Raquel Rodriguez came out. Good showing for her, Rodriguez.
Raquel. Yes, she had a great showing.
Good showing for her. There's still for me, there's something missing. There's just something that needs to be dialed in with her and her character. But absolutely amazing showing. Her playing exactly what she said, which is, I'm built for this kind of match. So absolutely great. After Rodriguez comes out, then we get Mia Yim. We get Lacey Evans after that. They then also reference the shoe again on her way to the ring.
I referenced it as well in our group chat.
You did. And then after that, we get a surprise. So the music hits and the Titantron comes on, and it's Michelle McCool, who we just saw earlier sitting in the crowd with her kids.
And she stands up and kind of looks at them, and they're like, go. And so she takes off her hoodie and hops the rail and gets in the ring.
Yep.
Which I wasn't a huge fan of it because at first I'm like, this is kind of dumb. And then I was like, you know what? It's actually kind of cool.
It's cool, one, because she got to do it in front of her kids. It's also cool to me, no pun intended, because she looked, obviously acting because she knows, but she looked genuinely surprised. Like she got up and was like, I'm here with my kids.
Right. Like my kids are here. What am I doing?
Yeah. And then the kids, just like, go, get in there. It was a nice little touch, I think. Mark had did a little interview talking about how proud he was of her for showing
He
up and
should
showing out
be.
like she did. She did really well, and she does every year. And so here's the thing: like, I don't want to put aside like how good she did because she did do very well. Um,
Right.
I love the fact that she snaps that faith breaker, and it's not like the Styles Clash where he like pauses,
No,
jumps up. She snaps it.
she hits it and she goes quick.
So I like that little change in the move. Um,
I
quit making her look so
honestly,
good though if she's not going to come back. Like, I want
see. I was
if you're
gonna
gonna.
say, you, as much as I'm not always a fan of past performers coming back when they're obviously not. I hate the term in their prime, but they've been out the game for a minute.
Yeah.
Like Beth doing a once off every now and then, I'm okay with. I'd have been okay if Beth had shown up in the Rumble.
Hmm.
Honestly, you could bring Michelle McCool back and put a title on her, and I wouldn't be that mad about it.
Yeah.
As
She
long as when they're in Miami, I get one backstage session of her and Layla. That's my
mhm,
only requirement. It's my only requirement.
yep. Um, or have her have the title during the Rumble next year, or have her just be on the roster next year, and then Layla's the surprise, and so you get that moment of them together in the ring. Like we did Edge Christian at that one point, where it's like Edge and Christian both showed up, and they got that moment in the ring together. Yeah, I mean, because so she comes out there, she eliminates two people, um, and looks dominant. I mean, she just goes in there and whoops ass. And we're probably not going to see her tomorrow, and that's sad that she went in there and did so well, and we're not going to see her until probably next year.
Right. No, I agree. I definitely think if you're going to run somebody out there and they're going to throw some people out and they're going to look that good, even if you don't have them show up the next night, have somebody call them out. Be like,
Hmm.
look, that was my time. You took either A, you took my spot, or B, you eliminated me, and that should have been my time, and you shouldn't have been there because you're an old has been.
Hmm.
Like it writes itself.
Absolutely. And to me, it's about the people that get eliminated too. So like one of the ones she eliminated was Tamina. You eliminated like he doesn't get a lot of credit, but that is a big player right there.
She's a big girl. She's a badass too. Like
Yeah.
they don't. I. I've all. The problem is, other than the 24/7 stuff, Tamina has struggled to get over.
Yeah.
She doesn't have the charisma.
Right.
And
She always needs someone to kind of play off of, and so doing that
yes,
stuff with Tozawa and with
it was
Dana,
so good.
it was good stuff. Her with Team Bad, back when it was her, Naomi, and Sasha together, like that was good because then she was just the heavy in the back that just every once in a while
Yeah.
chimed in to what was being said. She needs that extra mouthpiece. Um, After Michelle McCool, I was really excited again because it was Indy Hartwell. I've been waiting for the moment that they throw Indy up here.
I was
Um,
pretty happy with that. So she tweeted something about it. Did you see Mia Yim's response?
no, I did not.
Mia Yim has a boot print on the side of her face.
Oh no, I saw the picture. I didn't see
Yeah,
that was her response to Indy.
It's Indy's boot.
Well, it's not ballet. Um,
No, it is not.
After that, Sonya Deville comes out, and then after that is Shotzi, which was another surprise. Like I didn't expect Shotzi to be there. Um, we knew
I
she
was
was
pretty
having
happy
some
with that
injury
one.
issues, so I'm just glad she was back.
I'm a big.
I
I like Shotzi.
I do completely agree. I think it was Corey Graves though that said, "Why didn't you just ride the tank all the way down there and save her energy?" I would have done that.
Look,
That was a long ramp.
when we get to someone else, we'll discuss that.
Hmm. That's a long ass ramp. And then I'm assuming this is probably who you're talking about, Nikki Cross, who was
She
Usain
sprinted
bolting
to the
it.
ring.
Yeah.
She sprinted to the ring.
Yep.
I'd have been
Uh,
blown up that first 20 feet. She
yeah.
sprinted the entire way to the ring, didn't even take off her damn jacket, and started whooping on people.
Exactly. And then after she's done whooping on people, she takes off the jacket, she whips it around, and then she does her little crazy hug the middle rope thing, and she needs something. she they need to give her a title somewhere. Uh, Even if they just bring back like the old hardcore title and make it just women only, I don't care. Just give her something because she needs to be on TV more than just being a creeper in the back of the screen. Which they actually referenced. I don't know if you caught that in commentary. Uh, they were saying like, I don't know what she's doing. I don't know what she's been up to. And they were getting on to Cole because he said he didn't see it. And he was like, that's because I'm looking at the monitor. I've been told for the last 20 years to look at the damn monitor.
I just caught that line, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Just calling Vince out on the Royal Rumble, apparently.
Apparently. Uh, he was like,
No, I,
I
I
don't have the
appreciated
time
that
to watch her creeping in the background and stuff. I'm
I
watching the match.
appreciated that they referenced that, like, because they're both like, "She's been there. Have you not been watching? She's been there because she's been in the back of all of those Candice LeRae things."
Yep.
So no, I appreciated that they brought it up and were like, "What are you talking about? She's been doing these things." And Cole's like, "I haven't seen her."
Yeah. My favorite thing that I think should have happened is we didn't get anything with her and Candace. Like Candace was tossed out early, really quickly.
I would have liked to have seen Nikki get in and kind of look around and say, "Where's Candace?" or something to
Yeah,
reference that. Look around, kind of looking for her, and then be mad she's not there. Just
that's a good point
something,
too. Something to reference it.
something to tie it in.
So that's number 29, and then we get number 30, which I about shit myself because I just said to you when we talked about it the day before, there's no way Nia Jax is ever coming back. And
And
then,
number 30
sure
was
enough, number 30
Nia
is Nia
Jax.
Jax.
And they messed it up and started playing her music before the countdown ended.
Yeah, I think it was before the countdown even started. Because
It
literally it was
was.
just like her music hit, and it's like, what the hell? All right, I guess Nia Jax is coming out. Um, so to counter what you said earlier, this is the one moment in the women's rumble where everyone stopped. They all stopped and they looked at the entrance, waiting for her to come down.
Going, and I think, and it makes me wonder how many of them knew who 30 was going to be.
It's a good point. Like, did they keep that from them?
Did they go, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Because we all did.
Yep. We sure as hell did. So she comes out, and she's bad mouthing everybody. You know, how dare you? How dare you like be here and not let me have my moment and da 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 da. And then they all attack her, and then she gets the Andre spot, which I think is fun. Like I think it's always fun to have it. So everybody's beating her down, and then she just kind of rips out of it, and everybody flies off.
And I'm okay with it because she was always that person.
Yeah, they always built
I
her as that big
appreciate it.
person.
I appreciate the fact that they referenced the fact that she started the man thing by breaking Becky's nose.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then they
Like
also
they,
reference that she broke barriers because she was the first woman to be in both Royal Rumble matches in the same
yep,
night.
yep.
Um, so
I think running her out there in the men's would have been an even bigger shock.
that I think it would have been too. Um, but I think that would have. I think this was a better spot for her, because in the men's, obviously, she's not going to win it. In this,
Right.
honestly, I was questioning. I'm like, are they going to do her Charlotte? Because that wouldn't be bad.
No, it wouldn't.
Um,
Her Bianca wouldn't have been bad either.
no, it wouldn't have been either. But so she
Because
go ahead.
can you imagine the pop if Bianca KO'd Nia Jax?
Oh, I mean, she did it to Piper. So
That's what I
yeah,
and Nia, she looks so pretty. Oh my gosh. She
yeah.
walked out. I was like, oh my god, she's so pretty. I have such a huge crush on Nia
So
Jax.
I want to. I'm tiptoeing this. I understand, middle-aged
Right.
white man. I'm tiptoeing this.
Yes,
I still hate the gear. The gear does nothing for
I
her.
agree. I agree.
They need to put her in something
No, I
else
agree. I agree with you.
because the figure you see in that gear is not the figure she has. It does
No,
not show her off nearly as much
it's
as it
not.
should.
It is not a flattering outfit at all.
Yeah.
No, I agree. But she just her face.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. She absolutely
I
is.
love Nia.
I
I'm
still followed her on Twitter when she left, because
absolutely.
like we mentioned before starting recording, like we brought her back, but we couldn't get Naomi, and my reference to that no offense to her, was, well, I mean, Nia kind of needed the job because she did some modeling after she left, but as far as we can tell, she hasn't really done anything else. Um, and so, like, but her modeling though, I mean, she's gorgeous.
The gear Naya had on,
Mm-hmm.
the same pattern as all the bloodline stuff.
Ooh,
That's nice.
I'm gonna need to go back and look at that picture because yeah, that's cool.
I just
And where we
I
are today with the
remember.
bloodline,
There you go.
they need some people.
There you go. Go look at. There's the picture.
Yeah,
Yeah. No,
I mean they're gonna need some people.
that's impressive. I didn't catch that.
I didn't either. Yeah,
And
that's
I'll give credit.
the
WrestlePlex tweeted that out just 33 minutes ago.
yeah, that's the Titantron gimmick that they do. Um, so she comes out, she does the Andre spot. She's kind of whipping people a little bit, but then what ends up happening is basically all of the people that are in the ring, which at that time is Asuka, Lacey Evans, Liv Morgan, Mia Yim, Michelle McCool, Nikki Cross, Piper Niven, Raquel Rodriguez, Rhea Ripley, Shotzi, and Sonya Deville all toss her the hell out. Um,
Which I was okay with.
yeah,
Like,
no,
it
no,
took
no,
all of them to do it, and I was fine with it because she didn't land on the apron and scream, "Oh, my hole."
that too. No, I'm always okay. Like that's the thing is like one time I want the big person to win because
Yeah,
in theory the big person should be the person that wins the Rumble. When Big Show
absolutely.
was in it, to me it's a travesty that Big Show never won. Um, Andre won one Rumble ish thing. Um, they had a WrestleMania 2 where it was the football players and wrestlers and Refrigerator Perry won it. So that was a
Yeah.
big dude winning it. The big dude makes sense because who's going to get him over? And I think they referenced that in the men's match when they talked about Otis. And it's like, Otis is a thick, heavy dude. Who's throwing him over the top rope?
Didn't Gunther throw him out?
Doo -doo -doo.
I don't remember who tossed him. And for those wondering, yes, I move
Otis,
around a lot because I can't get comfortable.
Drew McIntyre and Sheamus.
Okay.
So
Which,
they both
again,
threw him out.
two big dudes,
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Yeah. But so no, yeah, in this case, like I never have a problem with that spot because that's the way it should be. If you have a massive person in that ring that would be the odds-on favorite in a real fight of throwing people over the top rope, yeah,
Yeah.
having 11 people throw her out makes perfect damn sense. There's no reason that that shouldn't happen. Um, it's one of those makes sense things in the Rumble, like Corey was mentioning. I think it was in the start of the women's Rumble, if I remember right. He said, "You know what bugs me every time about the Royal Rumble? Someone's trying to throw someone out, and then someone stops them from throwing them out."
How many times have we said that
Yeah.
over the years that we've been watching these shows together?
Mm-hmm.
How many times have been like, why did you interrupt him?
Yeah. Throw him out, and then throw the guy out that threw him out, or do the old thing where someone's throwing someone out, and you grab the person's leg that's throwing them out, and you just toss them both out at the same time. Makes perfect sense.
Was Xia Li's outfit a Street Fighter outfit too?
Um, I don't think it was. I think she was being Xia Li.
But that spot on the ring
Yeah,
apron was pretty solid.
yeah. To that point, there was a reference of that. Yeah, um, Zelina and Xia Li are both standing on the apron outside the ring, and then they have this like Street Fighter esque match, which Xia
Which
Li
is
ends up
pretty solid.
losing and falling off. It was pretty fun. It was a nice little fun spot. I think any Rumble deserves to have some sort of fun spot in it. That was a definitely good filler for that. Um, but so they all get Nia Jax out. Uh, then Raquel ends up throwing out Lacey Evans. Asuka ends up throwing out Sonya Deville. And a nice little exchange between the two. They reference that Sonya is an MMA specialist. And so her and Asuka going at it was very apropos.
Did you see the split over Sonya's eye?
Yep, she gets split over the eye. I think if I remember right though, that came from uh, Rhea Ripley, if I remember correctly.
I don't know who it came from, but that cut was nasty.
Yep. And so then Rhea Ripley throws out Michelle McCool. Mia Yim throws out Shotzi. Piper Niven takes out Mia Yim. Raquel takes out Piper. Rhea Ripley then takes out Raquel Rodriguez, which was a big thing. The crowd went absolutely insane for that.
You could give me some of that too, and I'd be fine with it.
Yeah. Which is interesting about this. So they mentioned that we're in Raquel Rodriguez's hometown. She was like just a stone's throw away from the building where she grew up.
Somebody said half the people in the building were related to her, which I was like, sounded a bit racist, but
yes, very borderline there.
we're tiptoeing that line.
I mean, it wasn't a cornet reference of putting chicken on someone's back and running them down a African roadway, but it was pretty close. But anyway, so Raquel looked like she was going to throw out Ripley during that moment, and I couldn't tell if the crowd was cheering for her or against her. I couldn't tell.
I feel like that was a very 50-50.
Yeah, because
the crowd was
the crowd was loud, but you couldn't tell exactly like what was going on in the crowd.
Who were they loud for?
Yeah. But so she ends up getting taken out by Rhea. Liv Morgan takes out Nikki Cross, which was a fun little moment for them. Rhea Ripley takes out Asuka, and then we end up in a situation where we have, before she gets thrown out, we have a situation where all three of them are on the apron. And so you have Asuka, Rhea, and Liv, and Asuka's about to throw the mist, and Rhea ducks, and it hits Liv. And so the surprise of that, I guess, threw Asuka off her game. Rhea ends up knocking her out.
Did you see how she did it? It was almost a 619.
It was almost. And I don't know if that was.
And she kind of did this after she did it.
Okay.
So I missed that part. Dum taught mommy something.
That would be kind of cool if she references that tomorrow too. That she learned that from Dom.
From Dom.
Yeah. But so then obviously Liv Morgan is blinded. Rhea is caught off guard, and so she's kind of slipping, and then she slips and she's holding. She's doing the Shawn Michaels gimmick,
kicking the cat. The core strength for this.
Yeah. Well, not only that, just like I rewound that spot like 3 or 4 times. The timing that she had to have on like grabbing the rope when she was falling, making sure she's not extended too far, making sure her legs are out, like kudos to her. I was about to curse there. Kudos to her.
No, you're not wrong. Like that shit was crazy. And then she basically pulls herself up, grabs Liv with her feet, and hurricanrana's her off of the apron.
Well, hold on. So before we get there, though, I love how Liv is playing this. So Liv obviously can't see, so she's grabbing the rope and walking along with the rope, and then she finds Rhea's hands, and she just starts waylaying on her hands, trying to get her to just break her grip.
Yeah.
Like, perfect how she was playing that.
Oh, yeah, no. That whole thing of them on the apron from start to finish was so perfect.
Yeah. But then, so she, like, the core strength in that, absolutely amazing. She gets her legs all the way up to grab her by the head, to head scissors her over. She hits the floor. Rhea Ripley wins. Like we said, Liv Morgan apparently technically got the record. I'm not sure how that works. I'm sure we'll probably see another graphic maybe with Rhea Ripley too. To me, that makes sense to have them share that. But both of them were in there for 1 hour, 1 minute, and 8 seconds.
Start to finish
from it. I don't think anybody's beating that time anytime soon. To her credit, just to go ahead and give her flowers too, though, Asuka was in there for 33 minutes. So the final 3 in this were all in there for over half an hour. Absolutely amazing.
I honestly, to me, the women's rumble was better than the men's.
It was, and to me, a lot of it I think had to do with those spots, those surprise spots. Like, there are people that were in the men's rumble that we didn't know were going to be there, but they weren't people of consequence.
The flip side the graphic they showed during the pre-show before the show started had almost all of those people on it.
Okay.
I caught that and I didn't have a chance to go back to it. But yeah, Gargano was on there. All of basically everybody that was in this Rumble, other than Logan Paul and Booker, were on this graphic.
Okay.
Again, I don't have a problem with that, but I feel like they missed a perfect opportunity to bring some of the other guys up,
Yeah.
and even if they weren't in very long.
Yeah. Which, like the Booker spot, like I don't want to take any flowers away from Booker. The fact that he can still go in there and go. He just
Yes.
actually even had a full wrestling match in his organization not too long ago. I want to say it was just maybe a month ago. He had a full on
Mhm.
match there, and like he could still go, but did we need that spot? Is there a reason we had him there? Is it because Roxanne was in the women's? Like, was that kind of the deal? Is like she wanted to show up there, but she also wanted him to show up.
I don't
Like,
know. I don't know,
but
but
yeah, I would have rather had like a Carmelo Hayes be in that spot, a Joe Gacy be in that spot, someone to
a forbidden door in that spot.
yeah. I, so I don't know. For the fact that there was no Forbidden Door in the women's, I'm wondering if things just didn't work out for that. Because
Right, that's
that
fair.
was my thing with the women's too. Like I would have loved to see a Jordan Grace or even Mickey
Mickey,
James throw back up.
a Victoria. Shit, run Molly Holly out there. She's still in great shape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, give me one good Molly go round. Because
I
Roxanne
love me
didn't know how
some
to do
Molly
it.
Holly.
Or no, was it Tegan? I think Tegan tried to do it.
I think it was
Um,
Tegan that tried to do
yeah,
it.
and didn't really didn't really do it. Um, but anyway, uh, great match though. I think
I think we
again,
all pretty
like
much knew Rhea was going to win, but there
yeah,
was a lot of questions
yeah,
based on who ended up being in the match.
yeah. Well, not
I
only
don't
that,
feel
but
like this
where
is
people ended up. So like Raquel lasting so long, it kind of made me think: Are we gonna run that back? Is that what we're doing? Is building this up to her for her to be the big badass that throws a bunch of people out?
yeah, bringing back Piper, Asuka's return.
Yeah,
I hoped Rhea would win. I'd have been fine with Liv, but there were several other that were completely believable winning this match.
yep,
And that's why I feel like it was better than the men's.
yep. So we already know the longest and the shortest time. We got Rhea with the Rhea and Liv both with
Liv.
the longest time. For eliminations, we have the most at 7 with Rhea Ripley. Um, so yeah, great match though. I loved every bit of it. Definitely makes me excited for tomorrow, um, because of who might show up. Um,
And the fact that we'll be there.
yep. And here's my thing: Asuka's on Raw, so the fact that I might get to see
Shout out,
Kana live.
big shout out to our boy Brian.
Hmm.
We appreciate you.
Yep. I'm perfectly fine that you have a great friend and I'm just a dingleberry hanging onto the butt crack. Um, someone needs to cover the booty hole. But no, yeah, definitely shout out to Brian. Awesome that we get the opportunity to go.
We
Totally thanks
appreciate
to
you.
him. Definitely appreciate you. Um, that leads us to the main event. And here's the thing: by the time this match ended, there was no surprise at why this was the main event.
I
Um,
don't remember the last time that the Rumble wasn't the main event.
yeah. But goodness, was it worth it for this? I'm not going to go beat for beat for the match because that's not what
There
everybody
was a lot.
wants to talk about. However, um, I mean, for the most part, it was a Reigns beatdown.
Did you see Owens go for that springboard moonsault and fall?
Yes.
Did you see what Roman did?
Mm-mm.
He was laying there and saw Kevin start to slip and rolled underneath him.
Nice. I didn't
He
catch that.
caught him. He didn't move. He just rolled over like he was trying to get out of the way and landed perfectly underneath Kevin. So Kevin didn't just slam down on the mat.
Yeah. Um, Kevin did seem obviously irritated with himself by that spot because like
Yes.
he hit the mat, popped up, went right back to it, and tried and did it again.
He hit the senton and then went up and just went for a regular moonsault, but he was basically going for a B&E,
Oh yeah,
which is not an easy shot.
not at all. No, the idea of jumping from the second rope to the top rope to do a
And
moonsault all in one
turning when you
move.
do it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not surprised that was missed. It sucks when moments
But
like that happen, but good on
seeing
Roman then.
Roman
Yeah.
do that, big props to Roman for looking out for the guy you're in the ring with.
Well, and looking at that, like, there's a reason Roman's where he's at right now. Roman is a ring general at this point, and that
He is
just solidified it right there. Him
he
having
is
the
easily
wherewithal to roll and catch him.
he is 100%, 1,000% more of a better person, character, performer than he was when they were trying to shove him down everybody's throat.
Yeah.
I
Um.
just you cannot tell me that this is not the best version of Roman Reigns we've ever gotten.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Um. So just to kind of lead up to the match, before we talk about the aftermath, we have a situation where uh, before the pay per view started, the entire bloodlines in the back. It kind of does this pan of everybody staring at Sammy. Um,
Oh, I missed this.
yeah, so it's they look at Jimmy who's staring, they look at Jay who's staring, they look at Solo who's staring, they look at um, Paul who's kind of
The wise man.
grinning like a Cheshire cat because he's
Keep going.
excited that things are going. And then they pan to Sammy, who's just kind of questioning, I think, his entire existence at that point. And then the camera goes to Roman Reigns. And then Roman basically says, like, tonight, Sammy, you are at my heel. Like you are with me. No one
Okay.
else. You are with me the entire
Okay.
night.
Okay.
Tells the rest of the bloodline they're not going to be out there, but Sammy is going to be at my hip the entire night. I am going to show you. I'm going to teach you. I'm going to give you knowledge of how this works.
Interesting. I missed all of this. So when Sammy came out with Paul and Roman, I was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe it happens during the match.
Yep. And
The
so
match itself was not great. It wasn't a squash, but it felt like a squash.
yeah, which the thing is though, like, I mean, I hate to say it, but that's why it's like it's gonna have to be a special
Yeah,
entertainer to take that from Roman at this point.
I agree.
And I agree. Like so Roman was on Jimmy Fallon the night before,
Friday night.
and he had said a statement which like is all entertaining and everything. However, it does make a lot of sense too when it comes to the character.
Hmm.
Is Jimmy's like, well, how do you think you're gonna fare? And he just kind of laughs and he goes, gonna win. Like, what? How can you be so sure? I mean, what's your strategy? Not to change a damn thing. I've been
Right.
beating Kevin Owen up for years.
I just I felt like they could have done more because they've been building Kevin up and doing all of these things,
Mm-hmm.
and then he just catches a beatdown pretty much the whole match.
So he does, but I think the spin on this though is he was kicking out of things that people don't kick out of. He
That's
kicked out of
fair.
like 3 spears.
I'll give you that. He kicked out of a lot.
And so like it showed him his resilience of like he was gonna keep going. And the only thing that ended up stopping him is like we finally got to a point where like he got the low blow and then uh
The stairs.
got the
That
stairs and
was
all that.
hard to watch.
Dude, the stairs made me cringe. And especially when he did it twice. So what we're talking about is towards the end of it, we're in a situation where the ref was knocked out, and so um, Owens and Reigns are
I'm pretty sure
outside.
the ref was bleeding.
Was he?
I
Okay.
think so.
Um. So yeah. So Reigns shoves Owens into the referee. Owens plants Reigns with a pop-up powerbomb, but of course there's no referee. Reigns hits Owens with a low blow, and then directs Sami Zayn to get a chair for him.
At which point Sammy says, "You told me not to do
Yeah,
anything."
and I love how Sammy's playing that. Of you told me to do nothing. You told me to just
You told-
stand here and
Yep.
watch. And now you're telling me to get
Yeah.
a chair, and he's like, "Go get a chair." And so finally he's like, "Okay, okay, okay." Well, then he's looking at ringside, and he's looking over at the timekeeper's area, and Paul's like, "Under here, they're always under here. Get him a chair." So
Yeah.
he's like, he goes down there, he grabs a chair, and then he's looking at it and looking at Roman, and Roman's like, "Give me the chair." And he's looking at the ref, and he's looking at Kevin, looking at Roman, and then finally he slides it in. And Roman is looking absolutely confused at what just happened. Like, why did you take so long to give me the chair? But okay, fine.
Yeah.
So he picks up the chair, he turns around, and then uh, Owens ends up um, countering it. But then as he's trying to hit him with a stunner, Reigns kicks out of a stunner and then ends up hitting with a Superman punch. Uh,
He went for the pop-up powerbomb again and he hit him with the Superman punch in midair.
oh,
That shit
that's
was
right.
nice.
That's right.
That was such a good spot.
Yeah. So he hits him with a Superman punch. Owens kicks out. Um, the fight then spills to the outside. Reigns spears Owens through the barricade. Before that happens, though, Sammy's looking at Kevin and he's like, "Kevin, just stay down. Like, stop. This doesn't have to happen. It's over. Stop." And then that's when Reigns comes around, spears him through the barricade. Um, Reigns then tosses Owens face first into the steel steps 2 times, uh, right in front of Sami Zayn, and then also like straight back into it. And that was the most uncomfortable thing I have ever seen.
Watching the way he hit, I was like, he's gonna end up like Daniel Bryan. Like his next gonna be a stack of dimes.
Mm-hmm. Like
I
that,
I was legitimately uncomfortable
yeah.
watching that go down.
And it's one of those like, um, not to make the joke, but Mick Foley's podcast. Like he says that when he was wrestling, he had like a risk to reward ratio when he thought about the crazy stuff he was doing. It's like, is it
Right.
worth that risk for me to do this move? And I don't know about that one. Like, and maybe there's a trick to it. Maybe it's sleight of hand, and we didn't see how safe it was. But that looked
I saw Kevin
brutal.
put his hands behind his head, but it still looked so nasty.
To me, it's not about like. To me, it's not this. It's the snap of your neck because his neck was going between the two stair steps. So
Yeah.
it's this quick snap of your neck going forward that I'm just like, Jesus Christ, like that's not concussion, that's breaking your neck.
Right. Like, it
But
was so uncomfortable to watch.
anyway, though, so
And the look on Sammy's face.
that's what I was trying to get to. Like all that aside, like Sammy looked so
He looked
worried about
terrified.
what was going on, terrified about what was going on, and to the record, so did Paul. Like
He did too. Even
and
Paul was like,
I love those moments when even Paul is terrified by how far Roman is going. And we get
right.
more of that later too, of him just looking absolutely terrified. Um, so Reigns tosses Owens into the steel steps right in front of Sammy. He puts him back in the ring. Reigns clocks Owens with a spear and then a cover. Gets the 1-2-3 for the win. Jesus Christ, it was brutal.
And it wasn't over yet.
No, it wasn't. And that's the thing. That's what made this. This was Shakespeare.
We
how
could
this
do
was
an
done.
entire episode on this beatdown.
Yeah, because then after the match, uh, their absence during the match made perfect sense because and I get this thought not on my own by a lot smarter man than me, Bully Ray. He was talking about it on the Busted Open podcast, and he said them not being there made perfect sense during the match because it's less people to look at. So you're focusing on the three main players of this story.
Kevin, Owen, Kevin, Sammy, and Roman.
Yeah. And so after the match, though, Jimmy, Jay, and Solo all coming out of the ring. Jay is about to put a lay on Sami Zayn, and then Roman
And
stops him.
and I went, oh shit.
He said there's still some business to attend to, um, which I'm with you because there's a beat in between him saying no and then him looking at Kevin saying there's still business. So it's kind of like one of those of, oh, is this going down right now?
Right.
But then he's like, no, that. And then so Jimmy and Jay just put the boots to Kevin. They're beating the living hell out of him. We get to a point where he's like, all right, stand him up. They stand him up. A little more beat down. And then he looks at Paul. And he's like, hey. And, of course, we have handcuffs. Why
is Paul Heyman? First of all, why is Paul Heyman carrying 2 sets of handcuffs? It grosses me out a little bit. I'm just saying.
He said it. He said, because if you ask me to bring handcuffs, I'm going to bring handcuffs in pairs. And so
That's fair.
he hands them both to him. I thought they were. It's again one of those where it's like this story is so good because they keep circumventing what I think's going to happen. Because I'm
Right.
looking at it going, they're going to handcuff this man to the corner and make Sammy haluva kick him.
That's what I thought too.
And
That's
then
exactly. I
no,
thought they were going to pick him up and make Sammy run up and kick him.
yeah, but then no, they do it to the top rope, and so he's spread out on the rope that way. And then again, the Usos just decimate him with super kicks, just over and over and over again.
6 of those things.
Well, so you say 6, but then like 3 of them were pairs. So it was like they each hit one, and then they both hit him like 3 times. Just absolutely insane. Reigns grabs a chair and shouts at Owens and lines up Owen for a chair shot, but then Sammy slides in front of him. And there's just this quiet moment between the two of them. And he's like...
The fans went, oh!
Yeah. And you can see the faces of the bloodline too, and they're all confused at what's going on. Roman's confused at what's going on. And he's trying to... he's trying to get Roman to understand, like, this is beneath you. Right. You don't need to do this.
Which was a great line. He's like, you don't need to do this. It's over. This is beneath you.
Yeah.
And that's when Roman was like, you're right.
Then goes to hand him the chair. Yeah. And so he hands him the chair. And Sammy's just like, I don't want this. I don't want to do this. Please don't make me do this. I don't want this. It's over. It's all done. We don't need to do it. And then that's basically find out to go back a couple of days. This was the test. We have beat down this man to an inch of his life. Finish it. Not to mention, I forgot to say, he also got the Rikishi bump, the Umaga bump.
Yes.
With the chair wrapped around his neck too.
Did
Solo.
you get a good look at how they did that though?
Mm-hmm.
Like where Solo, like the bottom of the chair is sitting here on Kevin, like right here, and Solo's ass hits like right above the bottom.
Yeah.
It was such a perfect way to do placement. It. Yes, it was so good.
Yeah. So Samuel looks hesitant. He's even like subtly, he's holding the chair, and like in hindsight now you can see he's like subtly pointing it towards Reigns. But like we don't think of that at the time. We think he's just holding it, staring at it, and trying to figure out what he's going to do. And so he kind of starts sneaking back behind Roman. And then you almost have like this flashback to the Shield,
I just saw a picture that said which one of these hurt worse,
Hmm.
and it was Seth and Roman and Sammy and
Yeah. And so then, like at that moment, though, Roman gets in Sammy's face, and
Pie faced him a couple times.
again, Sammy, like if there's a tie in this for like best supporting actor, and between him and Jay, because both of them played their roles perfectly for this. Because
Even
Roman gets
face
up
was
in Sammy's face, and then
even Paul's looking at this like, oh shit.
yeah. But so when Sammy gets up and when Roman gets up in Sammy's face, there's a moment of Sammy firing up, and he gets like right there head to head with him, and then immediately, as soon as Roman opens his mouth, he backs down. And just that moment of like, all right, he's had enough. Shit, no, no, he hasn't. Um, and so then he tells him, he's like, do this. You've got to do this. He's in Sammy's face. He's pie facing him, telling him to get this done. And so then he turns around. He's then smack talking KO again, and then Sammy
The
just
chair
lifts up that
shot
chair.
heard round the
Bang!
world,
Um,
right in Roman's back, and the
yeah,
crowd pop
was
was
insane.
in. Oh my god, that's
Um,
easily going to be one of those top 10 pops of all time.
Absolutely. And then again, like the moment, so like the crowd went nuts, and then there's this deafening silence of Roman laying on the ground. Sammy is staring at Jay with the
The
chair in his
first thing
hand.
he does is he turns around, he looks at Jay and goes, "I'm sorry."
Yeah, I'm sorry, I had to
Doesn't
do
look at
this.
Jimmy, who has been his boy this whole time. He doesn't look at Solo. He looks at Jay.
Yeah. Um, Telling him he's sorry, telling him he had to do it. He's sorry that he had to do this. And then Jay is just yelling at Sammy at this point, and he's just like, how
What
could
are
you
you
do this?
doing?
How could you do this to the family? How could you do this to me? Like I loved you like a brother." Um, so at that point, though, Jimmy takes out Sammy. He starts beating him down.
He hit him with a massive super kick.
Yeah. One of the lines that still haunts me is hearing Jimmy say, "You said you love him like a brother. I'm your brother." Um, so anyway, so yeah, uh, he's Jimmy's beating him down. Solo picks him up, spikes him. Uh, Reigns is back up, and now he's directing the bloodline to continue the attack. Jay at this point hasn't attacked at all. He's in the
He's
in the
standing in the
corner,
corner,
and he's in
weeping.
shock. Like yeah, he's crying. There was a moment. Sorry, actually, to back up a little bit, there was a moment where Sammy was crying, holding the chair, and Reigns was like, are you crying? Is that what's going on?" And then he motions to Paul, and he's like, he's crying. And then Paul says a line that's just funny to hear: "Of there's no crying in the bloodline."
I caught that.
This
I
is
caught
stupid.
that. I was like, well, that's. I
It
don't
was
think Tom Hanks said that was okay,
no,
but
that's almost as good as people watching on the cock, uh, which was a great line from Pat McAfee.
there were so many great lines.
Um, I'm sorry, guys. I have to diverge. I have to do this because honestly, I teared up last night. I probably would tear up again if I could just talk about this straight through because this was just it was beautiful. Um, so Jay hasn't attacked yet. And the rest of the bloodline is directing Jay to take Sammy out. But Jay then just like back rolls out the ring and walks
And
away.
walked away.
And the pain on his face, like again, best supporting actor in this situation because he looks like he is about to break down because of the emotional roller coaster that happened with this. Because he hated Sammy, but then Sammy
Right.
proved to him how much he was there for him.
And then I saw it today, pointed out Roman did the same thing to Jay
Mm-hmm.
when he got Jay to fall in line by choking out Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, this may be the best storyline in the business of professional wrestling of all time. Hands
Absolutely.
down, bar none, start to finish. And it's not done. We're not done.
No. because now there's more questions than answers. To kind of to finish this out, then, so we're back in the ring, and then Reigns has the chair in his
Start,
hand, and
start
before he
wailing.
starts hitting him, though, what he said was very poignant to me, which was, "Look what you did to my family. You broke up my family." And then just started beating the hell out of him. Which
But like I
again,
saw
the
some,
looks on Paul, like we mentioned earlier, Paul looks scared all to hell about what's going on because he is just over and over wailing him on the back with that chair.
I, somebody pointed out today, though, no, Roman, you did.
Yeah,
Because you started it with this stupid trial. Otherwise, it wouldn't have gotten to this point. It started with your treatment of Sammy, and it wouldn't have gotten to this point. But here we are.
yeah.
I
Um,
I'm super excited. We're going anyway tomorrow. I once all this went down, I was like, oh my god, Monday is going to be so good.
yep. Um, so he's walloping him with a chair. He's beating him over and over again. He tears the
Rip
honorary
the
shirt
shirt off.
off. He's got one of the lays and he's tearing up piece by piece, throwing it on Sammy. And while he's doing that, and thank God they didn't bleep it because it wouldn't have been the same. F you, Roman.
Fuck you, Roman.
So loud.
And he stopped and acknowledged the chant,
Yeah.
looking at people like, why are you mad at me?
Yeah.
Like
When it's while he's doing the flower thing, he's just like,
the arrogance of why are you mad at me for this? This isn't my fault
yeah.
at all. Was oh my god. This
Um,
whole thing is so well done, and
yeah.
whoever wrote it deserves an Oscar and Emmy. I don't care what you call it. Like,
Well, and so Lance Storm had reference because the I don't get that line myself. I saw that on there of best supporting actor between the two of them, and then Lance Storm had replied back and said, "Emmy, you win Emmys for TV," and they definitely deserve Emmys because
yes.
this storyline is just so believable at
And
this
it's
point.
2.5 years old.
Yeah,
2 years.
it's insane.
Because it started during the Thunderdome era.
Yeah,
That it started with the Hell in a Cell with Jay and Roman,
yeah.
which they're 1-1, by the way.
Um,
I need a rubber match. I don't care when it is or where. I need a third one.
so Sammy's motionless. Owens is starting to stir a little bit. Jimmy gives one more super kick to Owens to knock him out again. The bloodline minus Jey Uso exit the ring. Massive chorus of boos throughout San Antonio. And the bloodline exits, and you've got Roman holding his titles. You've got Solo being stoic. You've got um,
Jay holding the shirt.
Paul, and yeah, Jay's got the ripped shirt holding it up, and that's where we end it. And now there's just as many questions as there are answers because where do we go from here? What do we do? We read the reports that the entire plan was eventually to get Sammy and Owens to go against the Usos, but how do we do that? Because Jay basically just walked out on the family, and that's not going to go over
I
well.
I literally I'm so excited for Monday. I'm excited for Friday. Like we were already both very I'm really excited about wrestling right now. I need it to be tomorrow at 7 o'clock. I need it to be 22 hours from
Yeah.
now.
Here's the thing.
Right
Like,
now.
I was already excited about wrestling in general. This is the first time that, honestly, like, I don't care if I watch AEW this week. I don't care if I watch Impact this week. I'm watching WWE. Come hell or high
Right.
water, this week I'm watching these
Raw and
shows
SmackDown
to
are
see
going to be
where this
just
goes. I might even throw on main event just to see if maybe they throw something on there. Just Jesus Christ, how great is this entire storyline? Um,
I was exhausted by the time this pay-per-view was over.
even so much to play, like they played it to the end when we weren't even looking, because there's a picture rolling around of them of Sammy and Kevin walking out of the ring, and they're about a good like 15 feet apart.
I saw that picture. I saw that there was some distance there.
And it's like we're still playing it as in there's nothing between these two. Like, like just where this is going to go is amazing. And we still got a pay-per-view in between now and WrestleMania. We got Elimination Chamber coming up. You and I kind of fantasy booked because if you count all the members of Bloodline and Kevin Owens, that's 6 people. Having 6 people in that Elimination Chamber, and currently 2 of them hate Roman, 1 of them is very questionable, and 3 people are Bloodline like stalwarts right now.
This, we were talking about that. This is how you take 1 belt off of Roman.
Mm-hmm.
So you have 2 belts for Mania. You still have the Cody match for whoever, and then you have the other belt. I personally, if I'm writing this, I'm doing Roman, either Sammy or Jay, and Cody, Kevin Owens for the title.
Yeah.
That's how I'm doing it. Now, if we're putting Jimmy and Jay back together and it's Sammy and Kevin, it's Cammy. That's what we're gonna call him. Against the Usos, okay, cool. But I would much rather see Jay and Roman run it back one more time, and Cody and Kevin. You can have somebody interfere and cost Kevin the match and put the title on. I don't care.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I would almost say so. We say Kevin walks away with it. I would kind of like to see Sammy walk away with it, just to be honest. Have him get that final pin, but I kind of like the idea of a 4-way.
Sammy, Jay, Kevin, or Sammy, Jay, Roman, and Cody?
No, Kevin.
Kevin.
And then still have Roman do double duty.
And it makes his loss to Cody more understandable because of the 4-way dance.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then we get both titles off of him. Roman gets to take some time off, much deserved at this point, because he's been carrying this company on his back since the tail end of the Performance Center era. Like it there's so many things that writes itself, but that's the thing, is like through this entire thing there have been so many ways that it could write itself, and they still took left turns that I was not expecting.
Oh yeah.
So
this whole thing was emotionally exhausting.
Yeah.
Just the end of it, after the match ended.
Yeah. I ended up so Central Time, this ended about 11 at night. I was still up at like 1:30 in the morning, like just because of the adrenaline from this match.
I was so exhausted at this point, I crashed.
Yeah.
Like I went in and laid down, and it took around probably 10 minutes, and I passed out.
Which I can understand that too. With me, it was just like my mind wouldn't stop spinning of like, what happens
What's
now?
next?
What's going to happen next to this?
I was, like I said, I was excited about tomorrow. After last night,
Mhm. Yeah.
like
and
7 o'clock cannot get here fast enough tomorrow.
Here's the thing, like as a whole, can you nitpick last night? Yeah, absolutely you can.
Of course.
I saw someone tweet out like they're upset about it because Switchblade didn't show up. Because Switchblade's at the tail end of his, well, just he's at the tail of his contract. It made all the sense in the world for him to show up. But here's the thing, that's because you hyped that up. There was nothing saying that Switchblade was coming. There was nothing saying, like, here's the thing, if I wanted to say that, then I'm mad that Matt Cardona didn't show up. Because there was everything saying that Matt Cardona was going to show up. It was him trolling everybody, but there was stuff saying that. I'm mad that The Rock didn't show up, because there was things saying that The Rock might show up, and then his mom was there. And, like, surely his mom wouldn't be there unless The Rock was there, right? Like, that. Why else is she there? But I'm not mad about any of those things, because again, like we said with the Chelsea Green thing, it's about moments. And the ending moment of this match will stick with me forever because of how good this is. This is Randy and Elizabeth's wedding. This is um,
This is yes,
this is
100.
as much as it was a failed experiment afterwards. This is Ultimate Warrior finally beating Hogan and having both
Yeah,
titles. This is just like I will never forget this moment in wrestling. I will always
that
be able to
that
revert back to
entire
that and go,
thing.
I remember when Sammy turned on the bloodline.
Did Sammy turn on the bloodline or did he turn on Roman?
Well, and that's the thing is like again, it's like he like you said he was only looking at Jay.
When he said, "I'm sorry," he looked at Jay.
Yeah,
He looked at
so
Jimmy,
did
and
he
Jimmy's
turn?
been his boy this whole time.
Mhm. But last few weeks, Jimmy has slowly backed away from that friendship.
But when we had the trial on Monday and Jay said, "Throw up your ones," Jimmy was like, but
But
he hesitated.
yeah, but it was late though.
Yeah,
So again, like he was distancing himself, and so the only one that's been 100% behind him through all of this problem has been Jay. Even so much as last night, because again, so like during the meeting thing, uh, was it was it during the meeting or was it during SmackDown? Um, was it during SmackDown when Jay blamed the whole thing on himself?
no, I don't know. Did he?
Okay, so well, no, because he was talking about SmackDown. So
Oh,
uh, Sammy showing back up on SmackDown, right?
right.
Um, Jay talking to Roman before Royal Rumble started was telling him, "Look, that's all my bad. Like, I know you said you didn't want to see him. However, like we got kicked out,
Right.
and we have to have the bloodline here for Solo. Someone had to be
Yeah.
here. So yeah, I
Yeah.
called Sammy and was like, Sammy, come back and be there for Solo. That's my fault. That's my bad.
So
Like
Jay
taking
took
it
the
on
bullet
himself.
for him.
Yeah. And so Jay's the only one at this point sticking up for him. And so I think we're going to, I don't know, either we're going to learn more about that or we're going to get more um, cruel and unusual punishment to beat Jay back in submission. And so we're going to get like Jay Uso when this whole thing started again of him just being a
Or is he
beat
gonna
dog.
fight back the whole time again?
Yeah.
I just
So many ways this could go.
I can't wait. I can't like let's fucking go. I
Yeah.
give me all of it. Like let's they have made the product in the last 8 or 9 months the best it's been in probably 10 years.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the best it's been since the end of basically the Attitude Era.
Yeah. I can certainly see that. It's crazy just how different it is now than when it was. Like
A year
cuz
ago.
yeah. But so just kind of fast track through the Royal Rumble scrum that happened afterwards, um, which I don't know when they started doing this, but I don't know if they started doing this because AEW was doing them or not. But
I think they've always done them. They've never made a big deal about them or televised them.
yeah,
I think they are because of AEW making a big deal about because AEWs are like 2 or 3 hours long after the show.
yeah. Here's the thing, I do like WWE's better. They're short, concise, and there's like 5 people,
Yeah,
and
it's not everybody.
and not that he's in charge anymore, but Vince isn't sitting right beside every person that comes out there getting more TV time for himself.
Yeah.
Um, we end it with a short segment with Triple H, and then we're done. But so we started with Rhea Ripley, who talked about how honored she is that she's been put in this position. Talked about how her and the Judgment Day are going to go out and party all night. Her and Dom Dom.
Is Dom Dom old enough to get in anywhere?
I'm sure they'll just put him on Rhea Ripley's shoulders and have a trench coat around them, make him look like a big boy. And then they asked her questions about the NXT women, how they showed up. She said she was very proud of that. She does wish they would have had some of the NXT men. She hyped up the NXT men during that
Yeah.
question. She said
I caught a
they're
little
over
bit of
there
her.
killing it. Honestly, like just this interview alone shows to me that her winning that title would be amazing because she is going to be an
I,
amazing face of the company.
I agree.
She's very smooth when she's talking to everybody.
I
At no
feel
point did she
like
really break character, but at no point was she being a heel. So she did very well at I don't know, keeping kayfabe while she's answering questions.
right.
What were you about to say?
I definitely think that just because of the character of mommy and her pins and the way that she uses social media to her advantage, she's kind of already the female face of the company
Yeah, which I think
without the
is why,
title.
which is why we kind of already knew this was happening. There was nobody else in that Rumble who's ready for that position.
Yeah.
She's been ready for a couple of years now.
Well, and she's got history with both. Her and
Yep,
Charlotte had a thing. Charlotte took her NXT title when Charlotte won the Rumble.
yep. And she
So,
referenced that in the thing too of like they're saying like who are you going to go after, and she flat out said, like, hey, I want to get that big win over Charlotte, I really do, but then again, me and Bianca, we came up in NXT together, and that would be awesome too. So I don't know, you'll just have to wait and see. So kind of feeling that out, and I like it. Um, After her, Bray Wyatt came out. Um, he talked about the match and how he felt about it, and he said, like, look, a lot of work goes into these, and I can tell you that now, after the fact, I'm happy with it. He's like, but it's a lot of pressure and a lot of work leading up to it. So I'm happy where it is now. Now that it's done, but
yeah.
he's like, where we're going from here, it's going to be amazing. They also asked him about Alexa Bliss and her little piece in this. He said that he doesn't know where that's going, which obviously he does, but just kind of keeping that under wraps. And he said, but I will tell you, like, whatever is planned for that, whatever's going to happen to that is going to be awesome. So kind of giving us a little hope of what's going to happen with that. Um, After that, we got Mr. Cody Rhodes. Uh, Cody came out and absolutely charmed everybody. Um,
He's Cody.
he's a class act, and just for the simple fact, like the first person that was going to ask a question, he introduced himself, and at the same time he said his name, Cody said his name, and he goes,
He
"Look,
knew
I
who he was.
I know everybody in here," and then he looks around. And he's like, "Well, I know generally everybody in here because you all have been with me this entire ride.
Yeah.
The same people asked me questions today are the people that were asking me questions when I was on my excursion, so I know all of you." And so then he just like let him finish the question. Um, he talked about how proud he is to be put in this position. Given to be the Royal Rumble winner is a big feather in his cap. He went on his excursion. He tore his pec, like, and he's back with a vengeance, and he's here for it. Like he's here for that. Um, they mentioned, well, it looks like your choice really isn't a choice. Like you already know who you're going after at this point. And he said, yeah, I always try not to talk about Roman because he's Roman Reigns. He's a superstar. He's a genuine superstar. He talks a little bit about the difference between a pro wrestler and a superstar, and he goes like he's a certified superstar. And
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't. He's like, before I left, I didn't know what that meant. I was a pro wrestler, and I want to be a pro wrestler. He's
Right.
like, now I know what being a superstar is, and that's what I want to be. I want to be a superstar. Um, he says that he did try to keep Roman's name out of his mouth. However, I'm sure he knew that I was gunning for him to start because the first moment I was out there, I pointed at my waist saying I wanted the belt, and he's the one that has it. So uh, they asked about his relationship with Tripp. He said that Triple H uh, has no reason to be a fan of his because of what he did on his time in the Indies and what he did in
Right.
AEW. He broke the throne and he talked all the trash. And he said, well, I hope they realized that was all in jest. Like it was just me getting over. It was just me being part of the company and doing what I had to do to get over. But like if you look at my body of work, I'm the biggest Triple H fan because of the moves I do, because
Yeah.
of the entrance that I do. It's all pomp and circumstance that stems right from him. So I hope that we get to cultivate that relationship and become better friends. They also asked him about what he felt the difference was between Vince and Triple H because when he left, it was Vince. When he came back, it was Triple H. Um, and he said, as far as he's concerned, if you are good at your job, then it doesn't matter who's behind the scenes.
Right.
So he tried to kind of play it off that way. He did end it by saying that he is very glad for the vision that Triple H has. So I think very politically skirting the question while still saying, I think we're in a better place now.
Right.
Um,
I
they,
just
but
Cody has shown over and over and over he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's saying. He knows.
yeah. Well, and he plays, which I really think is something that a superstar does. So like we talked about Roman being on Jimmy Fallon. He went on there and he just played. Like he wasn't serious and he wasn't
He was
he
himself.
wasn't the tribal chief. He just went on there and played a little bit. Cody, the moment he sat down, he's got two of these sitting next to him. And he goes, I guess someone's got to taste this, right? And so then he picks one up, takes the cap off. For about a minute and a half, he basically does a little promo for Mountain Dew. And he's like, look, I haven't had sugar in 6 months. He's like, so I'm probably going to be wired. But he's like, it's good. It's really good.
That's funny.
And then he continues to drink it through the night and talks about how I guess his bus driver saw the sign with the logo on it, and he was like, I think I want to drink some of that. He was like, good, then the advertisement's working.
Right.
Um, but so I mean, he just played a little bit, and he also talked about like Gunther and what happened in the Royal Rumble, and he was like, it was really cool being in there, and he was like, I was really excited to be in there with Gunther, and then I was immediately not excited to be in there with Gunther because he chopped the hell out of me.
He did too.
He's like, I don't know if I want to do that again, but and it's he has fun with it. Even so much so that like they cut him off. I think it was 4 questions deep, and they cut him off because Tripp was about to come out there, and he was like, "How about we get one more? Like just one more question. Have someone be the last question." The last question was Sean Ross Sapp, so that was fun too. He also referenced Denise being too loud. Like, why are you so loud?
She was like, "Oh, sorry."
She had her headphones on, so she was overcompensating what she couldn't hear. Um, but then he was talking about the fact that he wanted to do one more, and they were like, he was like, is the guy next that's coming in after me that important? And it was Triple H, and he knew that was Triple H coming out. He goes, I was back there, I didn't see anybody, so
It's Cena. He didn't see.
well, that's kind of what I thought. I was like, is Cena coming out for some reason? What the hell? Um, but uh, so he finishes up. Triple H comes out there, and of course he just does a glowing review of the talent that's there. And here's the thing, like the tribalism of wrestling fans is
Oh
sickening
yeah.
sometimes because there are going to be people that take this statement the wrong way. But Triple H said something that I do believe, which is he wanted to congratulate who he feels is the most talented roster in professional wrestling. I don't
That's
disagree
who
with
he
that.
feels.
Yeah.
He's of course he's gonna say that. It's he.
Well, and the thing is though is that it's one of those things. I like AEW and I like a good portion of the roster that AEW has. However, there is a lot of young kids there that are NXT level, I would say. And so if you're talking about the most talented, most stacked roster in professional wrestling, yeah, it's WWE. They have, 400 some odd
Yeah.
wrestlers on the payroll. Sure, out of that 400, they probably had the best and most talented.
Right.
Were they used properly all the time? That's a question for another day. But of course, he says all that. He talks about the NXT kids coming up and how proud he was for that. He talks about a touching story with Bianca Belair. He says, people don't understand how it is for me to see them in the prominent roles that they're in now, because I still see that kid when they first started. And I helped teach them and train them to become these big superstars. And he references Bianca Belair, and he says, like, for instance, in the hallway at NXT, in that arena, in the hallway, there's a picture of Bianca Belair from the Mae Young Classic. And he's like, and I just think back to, like, she finished her match and she came through that hallway, and this is why that picture's there. She came through that hallway and she broke down crying. And I remember picking her up, holding her by her shoulders, and telling her, look, get used to this feeling, because you're going to get this feeling a lot, because you're going to be a damn superstar. And look where she is today.
Yeah.
And just like you could see the proud papa, for lack of a better term, in his face talking about this. And he talks about Rhea Ripley, how she first started, and she was just this scared kid from Australia who was so afraid of anything, and where she's grown today to be who she is and what she is right now.
Yeah.
So just great stuff from him. He talked a little bit about how good he thought the event was tonight. Talked a little bit about the spectacle that it is.
Right.
Just being the boss, and I'm really glad he's out there and it's not Vince flapping his gums.
Did you catch what he said about The Rock and the picture?
So I remember something about it. Refresh my memory though.
And there was a picture that he saw of The Rock, and it was a promotional poster for something from the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a perfect picture. And of course, it's zoomed in. And he said, I got to looking at the picture and I realized he had goosebumps.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's
And
right.
he sent him a message and said, Hollywood doesn't give you that feeling, does it?
Yeah. Well, and that was prompted, now that you remind me, that was prompted from one of the questions, because they were talking about The Rock not being there, and how The Rock had mentioned, I couldn't be in shape to do something by Mania. And so he says, like, I saw Black Adam, and I'm pretty sure that wasn't all the suit. It's like, now,
Yeah.
ring shape and in the gym are two different things, but he's in damn good shape. But and that would be awesome if he could get Rock to come in and do something for Mania. That would be awesome. It
It
would have
was
been
in,
awesome if he would have shown up tonight, but I don't think I'd change a damn thing about what happened tonight. I
nah,
think it was an amazing event from top to bottom. Um, like I said, there's lulls in it, but the lulls need to be there. You need to have those
yeah,
downtimes. For lack of a better term, you have to have those food matches,
yeah,
to get the crowd to settle down a little bit. And so having a beat down, like we did with Bray Wyatt, or whether it was the women's title match, which didn't live up to snuff as far as I'm concerned, but still, like, it's okay to have a lull in a pay per view of, okay, we just had an hour and some odd minutes spectacle go on. We need something to settle down a little bit now. So that's where I am.
yeah.
So
I agree.
so for Royal Rumble's sake, out of 1 star to Japan with Okada, what do you rate this?
Overall, that ending segment. I'm gonna give the overall show like a 4.
Mm-hmm.
That ending segment gets like an 8.5.
Yeah,
I
I could
just
see that. It evens
the
out.
whole the overall show, the men's rumble was okay, but we knew how that was gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the Bray match, we knew exactly how that was gonna go. We had a pretty solid idea for the women's title. We had a decent-ish idea for
Mm-hmm.
the women's rumble. That last bit,
Mm-hmm.
I just
That took it away. I don't disagree at all. The things that to me take away on this Rumble, because I think about like when I go back to this Rumble and rewatch it, just because I'm rewatching it 10 years from now. What are the things that I'm gonna see and go, God, I remember when that happened. I'm gonna remember Chelsea. I'm gonna remember Gunther and Cody being the last two. I'm gonna remember the insane pitch black match. Um, taste like grape and look like grape. Uh,
That little bit with Rhea and Asuka and Liv on the apron,
yep,
and then the end of the show.
yeah. Um, the only thing that may stick out a little bit to me as well is Asuka coming back, because like I have been waiting for that since she left. Because the tweets of I'm going to Japan, I'm gonna go find something I lost. Like I knew this was coming, and the fact that it happened, like I was thoroughly excited. Um,
Yeah,
and maybe for me, maybe Zoe showing up for the first time, because like I said, I think that is a small tidbit of a lot of good things to come for that girl, as long as she keeps at it and keeps working hard, which I'm sure she will. But
just a great. It was a good show.
it was,
That ending segment being what it was just made it. It sounds bad. That ending segment made everything else forgettable.
yeah. No, no, no. I'm with you. Like sitting back and doing this, and it's kind of like I almost called you last night to say let's review this tonight and go ahead and get it done. But I kind of wanted to marinate on it and just
Yeah,
kind of like,
I don't
because
know that I would have had the emotional energy to sit here for the
yeah.
couple of hours we've been doing this. I was so burnt after that. I was just like,
Well, and to me though, it's kind of also thinking like it's so sitting at time code 2 hours 27 minutes right now, and I think we would have spent half that talking about the ending of that show.
easily. Last night, easily.
So I wanted to marinate on it to kind of put things in perspective. But um, it was a great show. Makes me, like I said, excited to watch WWE. I'm excited to show up on Monday. Um, the only question I have for myself is what shirt I'm going to wear and if I'm going to carry a belt with me. Those are the only two
I
things.
see. I was thinking, I'm like, do I want to take that Raw women? Do I want to carry that around the whole time?
Just put it on.
I might do that.
Yeah,
Make it my accessory.
there you
Why
go.
not to carry a purse? Just have a belt.
Hmm. I'm broke, so I ain't gonna buy nothing, so I don't need to bring anything else.
Right.
um, Speaking of which, look out for Baldy's OnlyFans coming out soon. No, um,
Dime store Stone Cold.
I'm just on there with my shirt off, going, "What? What? What?" Trying to decide whether I want time code that one out or not. Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap this up. An amazing show, an amazing talk about an amazing event that happened last night. I can't say amazing enough. Thank you for spending your time with us. If you're enjoying this, make sure to share this episode, share our channel with others, follow and hit us up on all the socials down there below to catch all of the latest of us. You can follow us right here, youtube.com at Kicking At It Too. Until next time, I am Michael. This is Tori, and we will catch you on the next one.